No, you're ignorant. You're ignorant.
It's just Pop Talk, Baron.
Respect my privacy.
The following content contains adult language and humor that is not suitable for viewers under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Or even over 18.
The views and opinions expressed during the following video content are those of the individual and may not reflect those of others. Thank you.
How do you talk so fast? I'm impressed. Like used car sales.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
It took me several tries to get that done.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thank
How many
you.
times you die in a video game? Is that me? Oh, hey, it's Sunday.
Wow. Because Baron, he needs his privacy.
Hey, is there some sort of game happening today?
I think so.
Yeah, it was Tiddlywinks competition. Oh, the big ping pong.
Well, what does it matter when all they're
yeah.
going to focus on is Taylor Swift?
What?
There's going to be a lot of Taylor
championship?
Swift nonsense. Yes.
Just with ping pong, here's about her. I'm talking about the great North
No, you
Korean
have ping pong.
championship.
Ping pong.
Ping pong. Ping pong. Yeah.
It's ping pong.
Yeah. It's ping pong championship tonight, man. Ping pong,
Ping pong. Ping pong.
Happy Lunar New Year too, you know. Tax.
Yep.
Mike's gonna come
Good
down.
morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome one and all to this edition of PACIFIC414 Pop Talk, along with Baron Orman Tagge, Cashmoney007. I'm your host, Mike, and real quick,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
and today we will be joined by Keith, the movie geek of Pop Culture Minefield, and as soon as he gets here, we will definitely talk to him. But in the meantime, gentlemen, how are you doing?
Yeah. Man,
All right.
man. I was upset. Afterwards, after the show yesterday, I went and watched Live PD. All the times they were in Fullerton, I did not see Cash once, and I was sad.
Yeah, I don't usually find myself in Fullerton unless there's something going on.
Well, yeah, there was something going on. On Patrol
Usually
Live.
there is on Patrol Live. You're always on.
I
Cash.
don't know.
Running
Sometimes I
around
have to
with
check
shit.
with my minions. Check
Yeah,
with the minions.
running around with that golf club man and the chin prominent.
Well, only if people are
Mhm.
doing what they're supposed to do. You know,
Mm.
got to go all Walter White on their asses.
Whoa. Yeah, I tell you, the dark side of Cash Monet comes up. Now you know where he got all that money for his money bin.
Yeah, I have to check to make sure the Beagle Boys don't try to mess around with it.
He's the king of Fullerton. That's what we'll call him, the king of Fullerton.
Fullerton.
The King
I
and
don't know.
Legend of Fullerton.
I don't know the last
There-
time I've actually been in Fullerton.
Well, the other week.
I don't know about that. Maybe
Yeah.
in someone's dreams.
You know, now that we talked about it so much, you actually do need to go down to Fullerton. You got to do it on the weekend too, just in case On Patrol Live is there, and you can drive by and do the double flip off and say, "Screw you, Baron." Have the cops scratch your heads. What the hell's going on here?
He does that anyway, Baron.
I
Even
know.
when he's on Pop Talk,
Yes.
he says,
Oh, I know. I know.
Yes,
Those
I
untoward
make
and
sure to
unkind
put up
things.
both middle fingers. It's even worse than Naked Gun.
Mm. Da-da-da-dum.
Uh,
Da-da-da-da-da-bum. Yep. Good old Naked Gun.
hmm
I love
Oh.
those movies.
I love the TV.
Oh, look who decided to join us in the chat. Do 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 do.
Ba-da-da-dum.
Yep.
You know what fresh hell this is, Anonymous.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, you know.
Yes.
You want to know what fresh hell this is? I can tell you exactly what fresh hell this is in just a moment.
But first of all, Baron needs his
Mhm.
privacy.
I need my privacy. I need my
Privacy.
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 Yeah, what fresh shell
Well,
is this, folks?
I've got the best way for you to get your privacy.
That's what fresh shell we're dealing with here.
No, Baron. That's what fresh hell I'm dealing with every time you guys
Yep.
are on.
We need the clip of Al Bundy, or in this case, Mike Bundy, going out the out the plane without a parachute. Oh man, that's great.
Let's rock.
Let's rock.
You know, I need to make that the next clip. Let's rock.
Oh yeah, definitely. That'd be cool. You know what? Why haven't? Maybe I think I might have been thinking about it, but never did it. Oh well.
I'll do it.
Oh,
You do it? Okay, you do it. Yeah, let's rock. That way it has more special meaning to you. Oh, geez. Peg.
Man,
I have. Prez is awake? Prez is alive?
He is.
He's alive?
He is.
Yeah.
It's like Flash Gordon. Prez is alive.
But you know what else is alive, Baron?
What?
The latest episode of Beverly Hills 414 from T-Gap Steve.
Really?
Yes, Baron. Really. The hell I do say, Cash. The hell I do say. Previously on Beverly Hills 414. Mike had decided he was really quite keen on getting some pizza, and was now 3 blocks along his drive when his brain decided it wasn't pizza, but actual Italian food he was craving.
Ooh.
Mamma mia, that's a spicier meatball.
The problem was the
me,
really
cash money.
It's me. Yeah.
The problem was the really good Italian place didn't open for another 3 hours, and that felt like far too long. He could just hit up Denny's, perhaps.
Oh, Denny's. Denny's isn't
Waffle
bad.
House. What about Waffle House in Fullerton, California?
It was a quirk of It was a quirk of nature that no matter where you were, the good Denny's was always the one further away from whatever your current location. Plus, you didn't want to go to the bad one.
Oh, the bad one.
Why not?
Yeah.
No, if he was going to get Italian, he really should get the top-notch Italian, rather than still dripping noodles covered in chili sauce and bits of plastic cheese and a french fry stowaway.
Ooh, that sounds good.
He pulled over and took out his phone. What he would do was find a bagel shop or something to get some pastries. Come on, Mike, read right.
You got this.
To nibble on until the Italian place opened.
Can he do that with a flip phone?
Maybe.
I don't have a flip phone, Baron. He was halfway pulling up the Find Near Me app when his phone bleeped a warning.
Ooh.
It was nearly out of battery. And as he looked, he realized to his horror that he had left his charger in the Corvette. Oh, no, come on. Real Mike would already make sure that his phone was fully charged before he left the house.
Yeah,
no,
but you're
really.
probably
That is something I do.
Yeah, but you're watching all those YouTube videos strains the battery fast. So.
No, it's when you get robocalls every freaking day. That drains your battery.
Well, if you would answer my calls, it wouldn't be. Okay.
Yeah, he keeps calling and he's like, I need my privacy.
I do it at 2 o'clock and start at 2 o'clock in the morning.
And then Mike's confused. He's like, why are you telling me you need your privacy? And then you go, I need my privacy.
I need my privacy. I have a problem, Mike. What? I need my privacy.
Then why are you calling me? Why are you disturbing my sleep, Baron? You need your privacy. You don't have to worry about calling me. Baron.
I need my privacy. My privacy.
Need my privacy.
Baron took a stray over to sit at one of the bar stool-like tables near the window. This way, whomever was meeting him had to sit beside him and couldn't sit across.
Oh no.
Mm.
Whoops. We lost Mike.
I didn't do that. Well,
Oh, he's back.
Damn. I was just
Back
when I was
again.
Go ahead and
No.
read. Go ahead and read him.
Yo ho.
Go
ahead and read.
What? Oh,
What happened, man?
I accidentally hit the extra button on my mouse and yeeted myself out.
So I guess he
I've
really
done that.
did need his privacy.
He needed his privacy more than me. So he stirred his drink as he mentally went through all the particulars he knew, which were few, and began to mentally list everyone who might have reason to steal his car.
Ooh.
Well, that's amazing. I don't have a car no more. But that's beside the. Well, this is probably why I don't have a car no more. Wow.
Yeah.
That was quite a list. Though when he eliminated all those he knew without more than a reasonable doubt were dead, and trust me, that's a big list. It was still a huge list. In motives, he could make a top 500 list.
Ooh.
But you guys can't do that.
Ah.
Yeah. See how that goes? Resisting the urge to check his watch for the time, pull out his pocket watch, which I do have, a Soviet one, or take out his phone. He casually turned and took a drink, being all sneaky-like, and looked at the clock. Good. He was afraid he'd been inside his own brain, and it would only have been a minute or two. But time flies when you're having fun, or sleeping, after all. Yawn. He opened the cardboard box and stuck his fork in the sticky cinnamon bun. Ooh, cinnamon buns.
Oh.
He had a bite halfway to his mouth before he realized something earth-shattering and horrible. The voice had told him to go to the chalupa and chai shop. He had gone to the cinema bun and coffee hut, not that can be fused for copyright reasons with Cinnabon franchise. Kind of like that out of Coming to America, McDowell's, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Here he was about to eat a gooey frosted cinnamon roll, and the chalupa place had been told to go was on the entire other side of the food court. Oh, God. You're going to make me waddle all the way there? Damn it.
Waddle.
Krypto sat on the welcome mat on the floor and pointedly went about, not looking at the illuminated doorway across from him, picking at a bit of his fingernail as he waited. How fascinating is that, by the way? He didn't know how long he'd been sitting there, but after seeing the doorway light up after he landed, he decided he was most certainly not going to go through it, not play this fiendish game.
Ooh, fiendish game.
Yeah. He must have been waiting, doing his best to look as bored as a gay man backstage at the Miss America competition for long enough as there was a bit of a hiss and crackle of speakers turning on.
That's what?
Okay. Yeah.
Sure. What?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? Okay.
Krypto coin, my old nemesis.
Oh.
He knew the voice, but couldn't place it as he refused to react and only rolled his eyes. I imagine you're quite curious as to why you're here. Oh, he spelled real right.
So Krypto found a bad Bond villain, I guess.
I don't know. I'm just going that way.
Why do you read this part, Krypto? Because nobody can do it better than you.
Oh my gosh. The funny thing is I've never used Krypto in my life, but anyways, continue on. Nah, Krypto said with a shrug of his shoulders. I'm sorry? Did you say nah? Krypto kept his poker face. Yeah, I said nah. He responded and inspected his his fingernails picking at his sleeve. Okay. What?
Who you think you are, Morden?
Mr. Morden.
Mr. Morden. What a great character. All right, so what do you mean, you aren't curious why I've gone out of my way to lure you here? What dire perils I have made for you to face? Whether you'll escape with your life and all bits attached?
Ooh. Don't
Oh
touch the
my.
chin. Don't touch the chin.
Nah, I'm not curious about all that. No reason to be. You don't happen to have a pair of nail clippers handy, do you? If the voice had anything more to say, the mic turning off muffled it. Oh. Oh, and by the way, kids out there, it's always good to cut your nails. Okay. Anyways, Krypto had been Krypto had been lying a bit. He was curious about who had lured him to the "You Dig It, I Feel It" LLC and why. But in this case, it seemed the smartest move was not to play their little game.
Oh, by the way, for that last little thing that you had was for the kids?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a moment. What the hell? I hate this thing. There we go.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Am I still continuing on? Or are you doing
Yes,
this? Ben?
yes.
Okay, got it. Will Mike manage to find a bakery to sate his hunger before his phone battery dies, or will he need to invest all the extra money in the entirely new cord? In an entirely new cord. Okay.
Hold up.
Ah!
You okay there, Mike? Okay. Can Baron
I
make
was
it
getting ready to
across?
send a message.
Okay. Can Baron make it across the enormous foot court to the Chulupa and Chai place before the mysterious caller is gone? And should he try to eat the cinnamon roll on the way? Ooh.
Oh, I'm going. I'm moving. Oh,
You can make it, man. You can make it.
that was one step. Now time for the second step. Oh, I'm moving. I'm moving. Okay, that's the second step. Okay, I gotta rest. Okay, here's the third rest step. Oh,
What dastardly plans is Krypto tossing a monkey wrench into by not playing with the evil voice who has him in its has him in its clutches? And what can happen when he makes them hopping mad? Some of this stuff.
well, Cash doesn't play well with others, so it's not
No,
surprising.
not always. These answers
These
and
answers
more.
and more as
Oh, go
Beverly
ahead.
Hills 414 continues
Oh,
after these words from our sponsors. What sponsors?
What sponsors?
Well, it would be a little awkward if he got here and you didn't talk to him. All right. So let's
some of
catch
that
up with the
stuff
chat.
I laugh because it's like, what did I just read? Steve, the stuff you come up with, man. I swear,
yeah. Where was MI? Where's MIM? MIM is MISSING.
Mike can't handle Beverly Hills 414.
Sometimes I just can't handle Cash and Baron.
He can't handle us, Baron. How do you feel about that?
I a little hurt. Right, Cash Bundy?
Cash Bundy, man.
You don't have any feelings, Baron. You know that.
Wait, I don't either. No, nothing.
Get that off the screen, man.
Come on, man. You can't. Why do you do this to us?
I can.
Baron Waddle, distant cousin to Punk Waddle. Yeah.
Ooh.
1, 2 penguins enter. 1 penguin leaves.
Yes, penguins.
Penguin fight.
Penguin Dome. Penguin Dome.
Penguin Dome. And what is the number one rule of Penguin Dome?
You don't talk about penguin dome.
That's right.
Nope.
We don't need another waddle, waddle, waddle. We don't need another Pecky now. Swimming for the fishies in the water, Penguin Dome.
So as we wait for our guest to honor, gentlemen, is there anything you'd like to discuss?
Well, we're kind of talking about before. I think I'm going to follow through with it. Ding dong, the witches are dead. The wicked witches, the wicked
Ding
witches.
dong, the witch is
Ding dong,
dead.
the witches. Witches are dead, especially after our big tirade we had the other day. Goodbye to Mary Sue. Gee, I wonder why you're closing up so soon. But goodbye to the Mary Sue with the Florence Pugh look-alike.
Wait, you were being serious? They're actually closing down their website?
Well, I mean, we're looking at something about them saying that. Hello.
Oops.
Hello. I just took on Twix and I just gotta take this in for a little bit. Oh my. Okay.
Really? Can't afford
Well,
that website anymore?
Well, the
Spaghetti
quartering says that the feminist outlet Mary Sue shutting down soon. So I mean,
does he have the actual information though, or is he just?
I would hope so.
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up.
Yeah,
he might be. He must be. He could be being funning around with it. But
I always have mixed feelings about the quartering, but I will give him a lot of credit on. This goes for anybody. He called out that woman, of course, who said that there was too much water in Pokemon when she was working for IGN, and then that horrible review she put out. I don't care if she's a woman, man, thing, alien, whatever. She put out this horrible review about Cyberpunk 2077 and didn't go over certain things, and she deserved to be criticized. I don't care if I don't care who it is. Put out a better review. You're supposed to be a paid critic, paid reviewer. Yeah.
No, you don't understand. You're ignorant. You're ignorant, Cash. You're ignorant.
I can't even remember what that woman's name is, but she's written some dumb articles for both
Dingbat
and IGN. Yeah, Dingbat. We can go with that.
Twat waffle. We say twat waffle here.
Twat waffle, yeah.
Okay, twat waffle. I was just trying to mix it up a little bit, man. Come on,
we say
man.
twat waffle.
Yeah. Did you get your ice cream today, Baron? Or are you gonna get some later?
No, not yet. Not yet. But I do have some waiting for. Actually, I don't have ice cream. I have frozen custard waiting for me in the freezer from Culver's. Yeah. So it's Andy's Mint.
I'm not seeing anything about them shutting down anytime soon.
Yeah,
Nothing's coming up.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like maybe he's got some information. I mean, it's not the first time these websites will lie about stuff, but
really.
The Mary Sue actually closes down, and then another site pops up that's just like the Mary Sue.
Well, yeah, because it's like, okay, this one, we burned this bridge on this one enough. Well, we'll close it down, go to another one, and make it exact same, but just a different name.
You go on the Mary Sue, the Gamer, all other site. You're like, oh, okay, well, this article seems reasonable, and then you look at this article, you're like, ugh, so this is no good.
Oh, what?
Well, I figured while we wait for Keith, I would start looking for some articles.
You don't need a second season of Kenobi. You're a quality actor, man. You're an A-list actor. You don't need.
I was going to ask. Doesn't he have work?
I would hope so.
Well, maybe there's something we don't know about. Maybe
I don't know why anyone would want a second season of Kenobi.
Maybe redemption.
Look, they just want to go back to the Dragon Ball Z planet, I guess. I don't know.
Ooh, Dragon. Ooh.
Yeah.
So
he needs to find better ways to hide Princess Leia.
Dude, Phil McCracken, you wouldn't know what peace is if you stood on your head, man. What are you talking about?
So we have this article by Spencer Bakuli. It was posted yesterday onto into comics. It says Star Wars lead Ewan McGregor makes desperate plea, asks fans to write Disney for a second season of Obi-Wan Kenobi. No, desperation. That's the last thing you should want to be.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Are we sure it's desperation, or are they just throwing in? Well, it might be.
Let's read the article first, Cash.
Well, sometimes these titles are ridiculous, but let's continue.
Let's read it first.
Yeah, he asks these questions, and it's like, wait for the answers. They'll come.
I hope so.
Settle it, man. Settle it, man. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Yeah.
And making a request that perhaps only he and 7 other Disney Star Wars fans truly want to see fulfilled. Obi- Well,
7, huh? Wow.
we remember we watched the first episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Cash, Phil, and I and Paul, and we thought the first episode was good. Then we saw the second episode.
Mhm.
I just
Uh,
I don't know where this show went. And even though I like some of the conversations with little Leia,
Little Layla.
Layla, yeah, little Leia and Kenobi, I just where is you take it or leave it. Kenobi is another Star Wars show. You take it or leave it. And
You might think everything is okay, but Disney is gonna get you. Kathleen Kennedy's gonna get you. Disney and Kathleen Kennedy are gonna get you.
no, man, they're gonna get you. You gotta be careful. Check your backs. Turn your head. All right, continue.
it says Obi-Wan Kenobi has asked audiences to write to Disney in order to petition them for a second season of the Disney Plus series. Ewan didn't do well.
Ewan, please, dude.
It's not getting a second season, bro.
Dude, you don't need to ask fans to. I can't agree with you on this, man. You're usually pretty level-headed about this stuff, so okay.
I need work.
The longtime franchise star made his plea during a February 3rd panel appearance at MegaCon Orlando. Following a conversation regarding his time on set filming the solo Star Wars series, McGregor revealed that at the end of the day, he was very happy with how the production ultimately turned out.
Huh?
Huh?
He's quoted here as saying, "The 6th episode really got me, you know," he told the crowd. "I was just sitting there with tears rolling down my face, watching. I was so touched by it. I was so pleased, so happy."
My God, he went full Kevin Smith. You never go full Kevin Smith.
I'm just so happy that we managed to do it, and also that we did it like that. The Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn actor continued. It was originally going to be a movie, and I've often
It
thought
should have been a
should it
movie.
be a movie? And I kind of think it's great that we did it that way. It's a longer story, and hopefully it's more satisfying as a result. Oh yeah, it's more satisfying when you have a character in Reva who gets stabbed in the stomach by a lightsaber, yet still lives.
Woohoo! She's got too many stomachs because she's a Sith or some bullshit.
Yet Qui-Gon in the Phantom Menace, lightsaber strike to his stomach region. Test region. And Qui-Gon, well, he did.
Hey, Ewan, if we ever see you at a convention, here's a question that I personally want to ask. Why weren't the Inquisitors intimidating, except the one with the woman coming with like wires coming out of her neck or whatever? She was pretty intimidating. But the 3, I was not intimidated by them at all. Aren't we always supposed to be intimidated by Inquisitors? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are they supposed to be scary looking?
You talking about those 3 Inquisitors?
Yes.
You mean those Inquisitors? No wonder why they weren't intimidating.
Anyways, he says we got more screen time to weave a story. To this end, McGregor then admitted, "I just hope we can do another one," before turning to ask the MegaCon attendees for their help in making that happen. "Can everyone write to Disney?" the actor asked. I'll give you some email addresses at the end. Just say, "Dear Disney, let's have a bit more of Obi-Wan Kenobi, please."
No. No, please.
Notably, this is not the first time McGregor has made public mention of his interest in picking up Obi-Wan Kenobi's signature blue lightsaber for another television outing. Asked during the August 2023 interview with The Hollywood Reporter as to whether or not she and the actor had spitballed any ideas on set for a potential season 2, Obi-Wan Kenobi series director Deborah Chow recalled, "You always think you're going to end a series like this in some magnificent way." Excuse me.
Yeah.
But instead, you end up in a parking lot with a second unit and hardly anybody there. It's always so anticlimactic. But as you and I finished our very last shot on second unit, and I was literally taking off my headphones, he was already pitching me ideas for season 2. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that. You know,
See,
these
I
are
go back to
Hollywood. These are
Coruscant.
Hollywood people. These are Hollywood people talking.
I go back to Coruscant. I go and I take on the Emperor. I take on the Emperor this time. Darth Vader comes in. I manage to fight both of them off, but I have to make an escape. And I run the Dagobah. And there's a Sith Inquisitors there. And Yoda and I take on all these Sith Inquisitors inside that tree. How's that sound? And all this time, I'm hiding Leia under my robes.
The whole ridiculous thing about Reva going after little Luke and all this stuff. This show is just an absolute mess. Again, another Star Wars show that was just a mess. 7 episodes, was it? Yeah, 7.
Yeah. You know, no one was supposed to get close to Luke at all, ever.
No.
That was the purpose of the whole thing. Obi-Wan they were supposed to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Well, Anonymous, Phil just needs to take his pudding, man. He didn't have his pudding today, so he's very cranky. So he likes to say somebody's better than somebody else. It's okay.
Well, see, that's how he gets his medication. So he had to put the medication in his pudding, pudding pops.
That's right.
Okay, it says turning to her own interest in returning for a second season. Child hoisted. There's another 10 years with plenty of stories, and I don't think it's off the board. It is a never say never situation, but we really did conceive this to be a limited series.
Yeah, a limited series that never should have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Not the way it went. It didn't actually need to happen at all. Some of these Star Wars series, especially after they ended, they didn't need to happen at all.
Hey, look at me. Here I'm walking down there. I look pretty inconspicuous, don't I? Yeah, look at me here. Yeah. And ignore the extra quote.
Yeah, no, nobody's gonna suspect anything.
Yeah.
Well, what's wrong with this guy is what I would say.
I mean, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi. He should be using the Force confusion technique.
Mm-hmm.
You see nothing here.
Well, I just don't. After this all played out, it's just like, once again, Vader and Kenobi at this time did not need to meet up with each other. They could have Kenobi could have sensed his presence and ran off and stuff because of the trauma he felt before. But they didn't have to fight. They didn't.
Well, the fact that Vader knew that he survived, he would have been obsessed finding him.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that his little minions went to Tatooine, where he was from, he would sit back and go, And even more so in the Star Wars A New Hope, when the Tantive 4 went to Tatooine, something should have gone,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Something is afoot.
Yeah. Vader's not an idiot. No, they made too many plot holes in this whole thing, and I don't know. They don't know. They want to do member berries in gimmicks and bringing Obi-Wan back and having him fight Darth Vader twice is a gimmick. but in the series. And we're gonna burn him like he did Vader, and it's like, come on, your symbolism sucks.
It says, as of writing, details as to what McGregor's supposed pitches to Chow exactly entailed remain unknown. Do we honestly want to know? I mean, there could be just bad fan fiction, and any of us could just sit down with a pad of paper and write our own.
So you see, he goes to and he opens a brothel up in Anchorage, Anchorhead, and he's the big pimp daddy there, and he starts getting into a turf war with Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, that's it, Jabba the Hutt, and and that's why Luke always wants to go to Anchorhead in stuff. Yeah. No, he wanted to go to Tashi Station. Well, same thing. No, not the same. Well, it will be this time now. We can rewrite it. Come on.
Well, I think people who actually enjoy these shows, which you take them or leave them, I think the main question to them should be, what exactly did this make you feel? And if they say, really, they don't really have an answer, I said, well, then why do you think you're still enjoying these shows? Yeah, we'll say these shows because
I got my member berries.
I guess it's right. Well, yeah, the member berries is just, it's not enough. Like I said, there's some good conversations with little Leia and Obi-Wan, but still, is any of it necessary? Probably not. Is anything necessary that Kenobi has to fight Vader at this time? No. Was any of it?
He didn't have to fight Vader at all. That's one of the big problems. He didn't have to fight him at all.
Could the Inquisitors actually have been intimidating like they are in Rebels or Clone Wars or whatever? Yes. They're supposed to look intimidating. You should be intimidated by them, but they're not. And so the chase sequence and there's some things you can find in this show that are actually good, but overall you're just like, do I care about ever watching this again? And for me, no, never.
Or ever watching it.
Yeah, I don't. I would. I mean, it's like, do you want to watch this? You can. It's 7 episodes. Do you need to watch it? I don't think so.
No, again, it shows you masterful ways of not doing a proper story.
Mm-hmm.
No, really. I mean, I don't want to be mean or cruel, but again, going through and looking at Sword Art Online and the long sufferings, watching with me, and this is when second or third or whatever episode in, and the party, spoilers, the party that
don't worry about it.
Main character's in,
yes,
gets massacred.
Yes,
and she's going, boy, this is brutal. I says, yeah, because this is part of the storytelling. It's the building up, the tearing down of the hero. It's giving you why this person has reasons to do the way they are, how they're feeling, and you're seeing them almost in real time instead of having it coming back and being told to you later. Yeah, he doesn't like doing it because of it. No, you're seeing it, and that's the brutality, and that brutality,
exactly,
in that sense, is necessary.
Yep.
And this is how you do that storytelling. It's driving them on.
Yep, that's. I know, and that's what we're not seeing in DC lately. That's not what we're seeing in Marvel lately. That's not what we're seeing in Star Wars lately. And we used to see those kind of things. We're not seeing them, unfortunately.
And more importantly, it's not just him.
No.
But it's the other people that's within this world that he is stuck.
Yep, and Kirito, he cares more about other people than himself. I mean, the character is just not one-dimensional. He goes through a lot of trauma, just like you would see before in Star Wars. People went through trauma. Yeah.
Or Star Trek, or anything like that.
Yes. There was definitely trauma in Star Trek too, yes.
Yeah.
Before.
And he tries to make this front that he doesn't care.
Right.
He tries to have this whatever attitude about it all, but when it comes right down to it, he cares. It matters. He wants to get everybody out, especially himself, of this world.
Yes. Well, and if you play any MMOs, these are the kind of things that actually go on amazingly, but they do. They happen. They actually happen.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely describes how people are in MMOs. You know, some people turn different when they get in there and start playing the badass, and even explains down the fact that the one character doesn't think they're actually going to die,
Right.
so
Exactly.
she feels no remorse killing
That's
these
right.
people.
That's right. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, that's storytelling.
Yes.
You don't have that with modern Disney. You never had any of that with the sequel trilogy.
No, it was
You don't
just
have.
there.
Yeah, it was there. Other than some brilliant little shining stars that you had with the Disney series, you don't have them there.
Yep. And ask yourself, if a character like Rey, for example, you know, if they finally said something about her origins barely, and that's what made you happy in the movie, then it's probably like, well, this movie has failed for you. And you were so desperate to get something out of her background because a person like me likes background, and that's all you got. And then you're like, oh, it's over. Oh, clap or whatever. And then you're like, then you think about later on, is that really what I'm excited about? And I've said this before, and that goes for any character. It just probably means that the people who worked on the movie have failed you, that the people who worked on the story have failed you. Because once again, Rey could have been so much more, and we've even seen that with Crit. I'm sure other people have taken Rey and done more with her. There's just so much they could have done, and they wasted the character.
Well, more importantly,
that's just one example of character wasted. Yes.
Finn, you know, even Finn on that one. I mean, I think he's the one that was done the most dirty in the whole thing, and I really feel sorry for John Boyega. I think, you know, his talent was wasted.
Yes.
Storyline potential for him in this was wasted.
Yes.
His moments to shine were wasted.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's the fact that the movie, Disney or anything is failing these people that really like it. I think they fail themselves in what their desire of a real true story.
Yes.
We're too busy dealing with people that have their nose shoved into a fucking phone all the time.
Right.
So they're not even getting the full story anyways. So all that's needed for them is the member berries.
Yep.
And member berries is not world building. Member berries is not good storytelling. Member berries is nothing but member this, member that. It's lazy.
Exactly.
Which is different than putting something in there that has a meaning that you're looking back at. Oh, you know, remember this, and the memory is for an important, necessary thing. But yeah, if it's you know, like you said, you know, all these Easter eggs in Picard this episode, you know, 60 some. Well, yeah, translate that over to member berries, and that's all it is. And if that's all you're happy with, lazy storytelling, so you can keep your nose in watching TikTok videos, which is about the attention span a lot of these people have, then yeah, you're going to be wowed. And I don't mean to be mean, but I am being mean. What the hell? Because it's true.
Yeah.
You cannot write good entertainment to a group of people that don't want it. And unfortunately, that's what we have a lot of.
That's what they've been catering to for the last several years. You know, you could almost say 10 years.
Right.
They've been catering to a certain group. And how's it panning out for them? Not too well. They should have noticed early on that it's not working out and changed their tune. But no, they kept to the same tune, beat the same drum. And that's why when you especially look at the box office numbers, say what you will about January and February, but look, this is abysmal. 6.5 million for the top grosser of the week, then 3.8. You got a 3.5, 3.2, and 3.1 million. That's pathetic.
I have never known numbers to be that bad this time of year, because you had at one time great movies that got huge. You know,
well, it's also the streaming
responses.
Services now and other things that, you know, people don't want to go to the movies. But I think it's also these films just they're not that interested.
It is the films. It is the pablum. Because even in the old days, you still had studios putting out good films, important, you know, what you would consider a blockbuster film out at this time.
Mhm.
They're wanting to spread it through the year, not concentrate on the quote unquote, Memorial Day weekend, Labor Day weekend, 4th of July. No, it was all over the place. Oh God, Mike.
And according to CBR, I'll go ahead and bring it up here. Your top grosser for this weekend had a production budget of $200 million.
Oh God.
And then you go back and look and see what it's made in total worldwide. That's why Hollywood's failing. Not
Right.
just because of bad storytelling, bad writing, but also bloated budgets. We saw it last summer.
Right. You saw the movie, Mike. You saw it. Did that
Yeah.
movie really need to have that budget?
No. They could have done that movie for much less.
Yeah. And that's just it. You see these movies with these huge budgets, and you ask yourself, why?
Parts of it were fun, but the majority of it was a dumb movie.
Yeah.
I
Which
found
nothing wrong
myself
with that.
rolling my eyes at certain points. But that's pathetic.
It is. But the thing is, Mike, is you take a look and start seeing the ages of the people now that are starting to make these movies. Well, you said it's been that way for the 10 years. Well, yeah, it's the people that's been in that 10 years that are now making the movies. So they're making the movies how they used to watch them. With their nose shoved in a fucking phone, watching their TikTok, and it's all disjointed as hell. Makes no sense. Stupidity. You look at all this quote unquote new talent, rising up talent they're bringing into Disney. It's like how young they are and how stupid they look. I mean that too. I'm not pulling punches on that one. You take a look at her standing there, how their posture, everything across the line. It's like, my God, how many paint chips do you eat in that old house? It's like Hollywood. You have nobody to blame but yourself.
Mm-hmm. When they've told their customer base, whether it's for the movies or for TV shows, you're not needed, especially for
Right.
long-term fans of already established IPs. And guess what? A lot of us are going to turn our backs on you and say, "Fine, you don't need us. We'll go and do something else. We'll go and watch someone else."
Mm-hmm. Let me pull up my my Flash from 1990s TV series. Here we go. Oh, this is a good show. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, what the old term about the customer is always right, and they ignore what it is. It's not bending over and being nice because they're being assholes, as people seem to think is the reason what it is. We can do whatever we want to this person because we're always right. No,
I'm the customer. I'm always right. Oh,
right.
Trust me, in retail, you deal with a lot of people like that.
I know, exactly. And the sad thing is, there's a lot of people who run these companies now that think that's what the model means. But the model, which is again one of the reasons why we have these problems, the model is the customer is always right by what they want for a product, what they want to consume as a consumer. And if we do not give them what they want, they'll go away, go somewhere else, and you lose a sale. That's what you're doing here. Whether you like it or not, it's just like I had that little tirade a while back on my thing, but that one cartoonist who was begging for money because, was going begging for money, but he was also complaining that I'm not customer service. It's like, no, you are customer service. Everybody that's in the business is customer service because you got to supply what the customer wants. You do not supply what the customer wants, then that's when you put your little grubby hand up begging for somebody. You're too busy going out there promoting homosexuality in these comics, And I'm sorry, that's still a niche. People don't want that. Just like the romance comics, which are heterosexual, by the way. It doesn't matter, right? When you do these comics, you want to have good guys bashing the bad guys. Maybe the bad guys bashing the good guys, so the good guy can eventually come back and win the day at the end. Whatever it is, you want superheroes. And when you're doing these superhero comics, you don't want to have, oh, I want to kiss you, Dick Grayson. Whatever you say, John, Jonathan Kent. No, you don't want that. But you want to keep pushing that. No one's going to buy your book. Well, look at what's his name. I keep on forgetting his name because he's such an insignificant twat. But
Tim Sheridan.
Tim Sheridan. Yeah, he's going out there making all this big deal, and what happens? No one buys his Green Lantern, and then what does he do? He starts pissing and moaning.
Well, not enough people. I'm sure a few people bought it. Yeah.
It bombed.
I'm not surprised.
No, it's one of those things where you have so many issues left over. Even it'll never become a collector's item because no one bought it.
Right.
No one cares for it. And yeah, you got your typical shills and the few that is aimed for. But when that's what you're promoting, well, no one's going to buy it because that's not what they want.
Well, his attitude didn't help either. That's for sure.
Well, and that's the other thing too. When you're in this quote unquote customer service, you got to be affable. You got to be out there. You got to be polite and such. And it doesn't mean that you roll over if someone starts coming after you on something, but you better be good on your mark to be able to stand your ground in a debate or discussion. Mm-hmm. Just because someone comes at you with a criticism or critique on something, a lot of times when they do that, it's a question. Why did you do this? This is your chance to stand up and make your point across. This is why. This is the inside of this creator's mind. But no, what do they want to do? They want to attack and then ban and call you names. You can't even defend your own thesis, shall we say. Let's just say, heaven help you if you try to go for a doctoral thesis because you're going to be ripped apart.
Well, yeah, you even go back to stuff like I Am Not Starfire. Like, yes, that could have been a successful thing if they did it in a different way. It didn't need to be a self-insert. The kid didn't need to be emo, but she could have felt upset, and then she rebels because she doesn't like all the attention that her mom gets. Like, they could have gone in so many different directions, but why would they care about that? So.
Right. Well, because this is a self-insert vanity project. But you're absolutely right. And the thing is the concept is not a bad idea. No. What would a kid that is? What would a person be? A kid of a superhero, and all that entails. And you can take a look at whether it is pastors' kids and the pressures that they have, kids of actors and actresses, kids of politicians, kids of successful business people, all the way across the board. Right? Kids of someone who's successful in like the local charity or let's just Masons or whatever.
Yes.
And again, that's something that anyone can identify with. Right? So again, this is the overall encompassing every person hero. But no, let's turn this to a vanity project. And when you do that, you take all those equations out.
Yep.
How can I identify with you? Then.
Right, and when if you actually bought this stuff and you went up to the author and you says, "Why do you think is it jealousy that you have against Starfire? Because what exactly of her character did she actually do to you to make you feel this way? I'm serious. Like, what did she do?
I know. I'm just kind of joking. You kind of walk up there. Can you please point on the picture of Starfire here where she hurt you?
Yeah, exactly. Really, man. I just
we were saying that just getting in mind. That's why I started chuckling.
Gosh. just like if you watch any of the Titan show, it's like, why is she a hooker? Like, why isn't she come down from space? Like, she's an alien. Why isn't she always orange? Like, these things are just shouldn't be a question, but of course they are. Because they want to make these characters, and the whole thing is, well, their gender has to be this and has to be changed because these are the main characters people care about. And if they make another character that is gay or this and that, then people aren't going to care about. How do you know that? Have you tried?
Every character had to have a start. didn't
Right.
they?
Exactly.
Every character.
Gosh.
Do you think when they came out with Batman, they thought that this was going to become the giant phenomenon that it is?
Of course not.
Or the same thing with
course not.
Superman?
Exactly. Or Catwoman,
You know-
or any of these, Harley Quinn, whatever it was. Yes. That they
I
were going to
mean,
become this popular.
Well, I mean, you take a look at it. The Joker was a one-off character. He was killed at the end of his first encounter with Batman. But lo and behold, what happened? He became so popular, they had to find a way to bring him back. I mean, right across the board. Do you think when Sir Arthur Conan Doyle sat down and wrote about this detective that he thought this was going to become a worldwide phenomenon?
Right. I know. I don't think so.
Or even Shakespeare. Did Shakespeare ever think that people centuries later would be performing his plays, discussing his plays, doing new takes on his plays?
Yep.
No.
Well, it's even what, like my dad says, it's just like these either different plays or musicals or whatever. They can't really come up with something new. They have to use the old stuff because the old stuff is still relevant. And my dad
Because
is
the old stuff is something
100%.
folks
It's
still care about.
amazing. That's right. Yeah. So it's something.
Okay. By the way, I just have an update here. I'm going to let everybody know here. Hi, everybody. Coming into an official function of a producer here. We did get word back from our honored guest, and unfortunately, he has a family emergency that happened. So,
no.
Okay.
I let him know that, hey, no worries, take care of your family, and we can do this later because we do want to do this sometime. So, no worries, Keith. Take care of your family. Family first, as always. Lord knows.
That's our motto here, Keith.
Yes.
Whenever something happens with a family member, family comes first.
I thought the model here was, oh my God, what the hell did Baron do now? But no, in all seriousness, Mike is absolutely right.
Yes.
Take care of everything.
Yes. And Keith, you have an open invitation for when you're available to come on. But family comes first.
Yep. We'll talk, man. We'll talk, man. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah. And of course, Hayden Christensen loves it because it's a great scene. I don't care what he said. People still, this is another thing, Baron and Mike. People have forgotten less is always more.
Yes.
And I would love to see more of that in storytelling.
Me too.
It would be great.
I've got to say, with Hayden Christensen, what I've heard from him in interviews, he seems to be level-headed.
Yeah, he does. My thing with Hayden Christensen is I think he was directed wrong because I have a feeling that Hayden Christensen is a director's actor, which you have. They rely heavily on what the director wants, their vision, and everyone knows Lucas is not really a good director. He's always was commented on about his directing abilities. He's a great world builder. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, thank you, Animas. What the hell? No, but
right.
But no.
Oh man, go find your lesbians, Anonymous. You didn't find them all, man. I heard.
Gotta catch them all, man. Gotta
get them all, dude.
How are you doing, Tim?
Hogwarts Legacy. Hey,
Tim.
Tim.
But I think that was Hayden Christensen's problem with his acting that he had in there. Why it was so wooden is because, well, Lucas is a wooden director. Faster, harder, faster. I mean, he sounds like.
But he opened up definitely in this movie.
It sounds like when you're saying faster, harder. It sounds like a completely different movie, Baron.
I think it's more intense, faster, more intense, more intense. Again, it still sounds like a different type of movie.
People can feel differently about this, but I still would say that Hayden's Christensen best performance in Star Wars, of course, was in Revenge of the Sith. We really saw him opening up even more. We saw glimmers of it in Attack of the Clones, but we saw a lot more of that in this movie. And you saw the rage and the hatred, and I think Hayden Christensen is a good actor, and if you ever watch Shattered Glass, Baron, I recommend it. It's based on a true story. I think you would like it.
Yeah, I mean, I used to make fun of his performance in there. Oh, just a second.
What's up?
He says he can come back on.
Okay. But tell him to take his time. I don't want him to rush.
Okay, I just sent him the message, so he does have the link. So we'll see if he So, but yeah, I mean,
he'll get here when he's able to. That's
right.
How
I used to make fun of his performance in there, but then again, knowing that this is probably more Lucas than it is him. Especially with the writing. I hate saying it gets in everywhere. But yeah,
it's okay. Could have been worse. Look at what we have now. So, or lack thereof.
Yeah. But you're right. The less is more. I mean, you don't want to see the kids massacred, but
no,
just that scene where the trusting little youngling, Master Skywalker, and all of a sudden the snap hiss of the lightsaber, and and the look on the kid's face.
Yes,
you know what's going to happen.
Yes,
and that horror
even the kid
more.
Yes.
Yeah, and the horror is what you can imagine. You can probably imagine it was worse than what it did happen, but either way, it had its impact.
Yes.
Again, despite being a bad director and all that, as a good world builder and such and storyteller, he knew how to do this. Disney, Jar Jar Abrams, none of them know what they're doing.
So this article on superhero hype was posted on the 9th. It's by Brennan Schur. It says, Hayden Christensen on Star Wars youngling scene. I love that George did it. Hayden Christensen says the scene in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, where he murders a group of young Jedi, was a bold move, but one he ultimately believes paid off.
I think it's time for you to hit that clip there, Mike.
Well, first let me welcome him here, and ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest of honor, one half of Pop Culture Minefield, Keith, the movie geek.
Hello.
Welcome, Keith.
I am. First of all, I am just completely bowled over that you guys would have me. I apologize for being very, very tardy, but let me just say that raising kids is not easy. And that's all I'll go with.
I'll agree with you. I second you on that.
No worries, Keith. We have a motto here. Well, actually, a couple of models, but the important one is that family comes first.
And the second one is, what the hell did Baron do?
Well,
and the other motto that we have here on Pop Talk is,
a wizard is never late. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
You're a wizard, man. You're a wizard, Keith.
I think that's more Gerry than myself. I'm just a guy that happens to know a few things.
A few? Oh, come on. You're a walking encyclopedia, man. Who needs to have Wikipedia with you around?
Look, I'm going to have to somehow grow another brain to keep in just all the information that's dropped over the last month. And I got to say, as an observer, what's going on with Disney, they're going to be teaching that in business classes and film classes from here on out of what not to do.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Well, do you agree with me that within the next year or so, we could see Lucasfilm up on the auction block?
No, and I'll tell you why.
No?
Look. Should they sell Lucas? Lucasfilm? Yes. Will they sell Lucasfilm? No, because it's
That's how I
too
feel.
integrated into the company.
And
And
that's how I feel.
if they did, they can only sell pieces. They are not going to give back ILM. They are not going to give back a lot of the IP.
No.
They're going to keep that. So that's my view on it. I mean, look, the people currently running Disney, I have to say that, okay, the person who's currently running Disney, I should say, pretty much should just go ahead and retire. He should not have come back. All he's done is made things worse. But I will say this. His inability to properly run the company has exposed so many things about this company that isn't going well, from what is going on with Lucasfilm to what's going on with Marvel. Marvel at this point is as bad off as Lucasfilm is, and Pixar probably even worse. And it has just become the very model of what not to do unless you're really committed to driving a multi-billion-dollar company straight into the ground.
Well, I mean, it didn't help that Iger wanted to do his Game of Thrones thing. I'll retire, have all this crap come down on Chapek, so it makes him look bad. Then I can come back as the savior. But he screwed things up so much that even the savior can't save his own mess that he made.
Yep, and you know what? The thing about Chapek is that his basic plan was really sound. At the height of everything going on, his plan was to allow KK to just drive Lucasfilm into the ground. He was going to withdraw any and all things that he was doing to help guide them and just let KK run the whole thing into the ground. He was going to focus his energy on trying to at least make sure that Marvel Studios was headed down the right track. He figured that they were still bringing in money, they still had fans, and there was still something to salvage. Little did he know that Kevin Feige was still in the middle of sabotaging and was winding up for his grand, really the grand way he was really just going to wind up showing everybody that he is not who he said he was. I am on that fully. I was one of those people that actually believed him when he said he was a fan. He's not a fan. Anybody that can look at everything that has happened and listen to interviews given by people who used to work with him can tell he's not a fan, especially with what the Russo brothers had to say about working on Infinity War and Endgame. And the fact that Tony was not meant to die. That was never a part of the original script. And that they had to talk to Jon Favreau first and try to, convince him. And then Favreau told them, you guys are still going to have to talk to Robert. And Robert was not for it at all. He was not for it. He did not. It took them quite a while to convince him that this is the way to go. And
because he loved the role.
I'm not saying he would have. Oh, everybody loved their roles, but things are so bad working by that point that, again, look at all the people, look at all the creative talent, both in terms of the directors that they had and the writers that they had from phases 1 through 3. And look how many people stuck around. Look how many people lasted into phase 4 as far as directors and writers. None of the directors came back with the exception of they did have one, but he lasted long enough to just complete what he was doing with Black Panther.
Right.
For the most part, I don't think he's going to be back. But if you look at the writers, the best writing team they had went ahead and left with the Russo brothers. And my opinion was those guys, you should have had those guys on a 20-year contract with Marvel to make Marvel films and let them write everything they wanted to write. And the very fact that they were allowed to leave shows you how bad things were. And then that video that's going around YouTube that was actually made by Perry Chan, who works with Gary at Nerdrotic, where it's a big old clip of all these various people that have worked on everything since Phase 4. And it's a clip of all these people, just different ways of saying that they never read the source material. They never read the comics. They never, all of them, all up to a person. And it's exactly what producer Nate Moore said in the Hollywood Reporter interview from around the time that Wakanda Forever was coming out. I even said on our show that is going to be the definitive thing right there when he revealed that the policy from Marvel from that period forward was to not hire anyone that was either a fan or grew up with the source material. You do that, you might as well just start burning all the money. That's exactly what you're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I saw the first Thor movie, I was incredibly impressed by it. But then I thought, then I think, look, well, Kenneth Branagh, he directed it, and he had J. Michael Straczynski, who wrote for Marvel Comics several things as one of the writers. It's like, no wonder why this film was so good.
And
and
Keith, it's also Discovery too. Like they do some things, and people are like, "Oh, Discovery's coming in. They're gonna fix DC," and then they get rid of a few things like Santa Inc. and whatever on HBO at the time before it's called Max, and then what happens is like there's not many changes, and so then James Gunn, it's like, look, I appreciate what you did for Guardians of the Galaxy, but once again, this is another beast. So what are you going to do with this beast? Are you going to respect it?
Well,
or are you
now,
going to crap all over the fans, or what are you going to do with it? And then James Gunn, of course, came out and said he doesn't like Batman 89. Well, however you feel about that, that's probably not a good person to have for the head of DC, at least one of them, who doesn't like Batman 89 or doesn't respect what that movie has done.
Look, let me at least say this about Warner Brothers and David Zaslav, because there's a lot of mixing in there. When Gary and I first got into discussing David Zaslav and him taking over Warner Brothers, at no point in any interview did David Zaslav ever say that he was a fan of the source material for DC films or any of that. The reason why Gary and I liked Zaslav was because he was a businessman. The same way Nelson Peltz is. Nelson Peltz, I don't think he's like a Star Wars fan. I don't think he's even a Marvel fan. But what you need is someone to actually run the darn business. Right. Because the moment you get people in there that do not care whether or not they make any money, I mean, put all the rest of that stuff out of your head and understand that you're dealing with someone then who just doesn't care on any level to make money, which is part of the reason why you do a lot of this stuff. The thing about growing up as a fan, a geek, a nerd, when it comes to comics and all the books and everything else, is the fact that for a long time, Hollywood just didn't respect what all that material was. So the moment they started making money, that's when the respect came in. So if you're dealing with people who no longer want to make money, that respect leaves. It's gone. And it's going to go back to the way things were before these films ever were hits.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like what I sat back and said about in the 80s, that Paramount had Star Trek. and Star Trek was
Yeah.
being huge at the time, but they still didn't know what they had or how to treat it.
Yes, because you had a lot of stuff going on behind. Look, the executives, the people that run these businesses, have absolutely no idea what we fans understand and what we see. They have no idea. They have seemingly no time to read or watch anything, especially the people running things today. I don't care if it's Netflix, Amazon. I don't care if we're talking Warner Brothers, Disney, Paramount, any of them, especially even when Fox was around. None of those executives watched any of that stuff. None of them. And so we can't expect them to have that same feeling that we as fans had towards a lot of the IPs that they either created or at least adapted. It's just not there, and that's fine, but at least do your due diligence and trying to at least act like you're trying to make something that at least the fans who you're going to try to target, because you have no trouble blaming them when things go wrong, at least act like you want them to enjoy what you are making. And with Warner Brothers, Zaslav walked into a buzzsaw, is what that was as a businessman. You have to understand that Warner Brothers was heavily in debt when he bought it. Okay? It wasn't just Warner, it wasn't just Walt Disney. It wasn't just Disney. Disney is billions of dollars in debt. And Warner Brothers is also billions, but the billions are different in so much as that Warner Brothers had like 7 billion, which is the reason why Zaslav was talking about making cuts and saving money. And that first year when he took charge, remember what he was saying? He was saying, look, we gotta make a bunch of cuts. We at least gotta save 3 billion. We gotta find 3 billion somewhere. He wasn't just saying that to say it. He was saying it because his company was 7 billion in debt. And notice, at Disney, when Iger came back, he didn't mention anything about no debt. He didn't act like there was anything wrong. He was waiting for the accolades and he was waiting for the people to shower him with praise and all. There was none of that. And I think Disney, at least the last time I checked, was originally was closer to like 13 to 14 billion in debt. So yeah, it was bad. It was a bad situation. And looking at that, Zaslav came in. You got to remember, the government got involved with this, so they delayed Zaslav taking over about a year, right? So think of it this way: if you're one of the people who had been working for years with Warner Brothers, and you were there, and you tried to set up all these movies, and let's just go with the DC films, okay? Because we're all geeks and nerds. They did all that stuff, all those final movies that they had. They approved all that stuff on purpose. All of those movies were done on purpose because they knew that the guy coming in to take over Warner Brothers wasn't going to like a lot of what they were doing. And when you look at something like Batgirl, when you look at Blue Beetle, when you look at
did you actually watch that? Did you watch Blue Beetle?
Oh,
I've thought about watching. I haven't.
I stayed away from Blue Beetle, but let me give you something. Hold on, I'm coming to Blue Beetle. Look, for what? Let me at least say this about Blue Beetle. I declined to watch it, but I didn't hate it. Okay, my problem with Blue Beetle was the fact that it was originally something that was meant for Max, and they decided to put it in movie theaters. That's the problem with that one. It was not meant to be a theatrical feature. The same way with Batgirl. Batgirl was not meant to be a theatrical feature. It was meant to be on Max. when you decide to when you take something and you decide to make it a theatrical feature, it isn't just, we'll just show it in a different place. Now you're actively spending more money to do it because you have to come up with an advertising campaign. You got to make deals with all the movie theaters. You got to schedule when that movie's come, all that stuff. That's all additional cost outside of what you are putting in there to actually make the thing. So you're losing money.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a group of people that decided pretty much, hey, I'm going to get fired anyway, so I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I mean, I've said it on our show before. If you ran a business and you had 5 employees that were the worst employees, and you let them know, all of them, 1 year from now, I'm going to fire each and every one of you. What do you think is going to happen in that year?
Right.
If you still have them employed at your company, what do you think is going to happen? That's what happened with Warner Brothers. You had a bunch of people who knew instinctively. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I know, as a person who was in radio, I can tell you. I mean, when it's your time to go, they don't tell anybody. They don't give you any notice. They ask to call you off and say you're on your way out. And if you're leaving the radio station yourself, you got to call. You're going to go someplace else. Well, the moment you tell them that's your last day, because they don't want you to do something that could hurt them.
That's right. But in this instance, quite a few of the people that did get fired, they knew they were going to get fired, because Zaslav, as he said in interviews, he took the time to understand the company. See, the reason why AT&T wasn't successful is that all of the people at Warner Brothers decided to try. They pulled a fast one on AT&T, is what they did.
Yep.
Because if you remember, the final few years of AT&T running things by themselves, you had all these cuts, circa, from 2005 to about from about 2005 to about 2017, you would randomly have cuts. And you notice a lot of those cuts covered everything from, various things around the company, and including a lot of major cuts to DC Comics.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that buys a business, and they were interested in mainly entertainment, they would come around and go, hey, things don't seem to be going the right direction, money-wise. What can we do to fix this? Blah, blah, blah. Rather than make cuts to departments or get rid of people who are not performing, they went ahead and just cut all the different things that they really didn't care about or they thought they didn't need. And neither Disney nor really loves comics. They don't understand it. So that's the reason why DC Comics especially had all those cuts happen during that time, because all the people that knew what was going on got AT&T to make cuts in those areas because they didn't care, because it allowed them and their friends to stay in charge, to continue to do more of what they were doing. And so Zaslav comes in, he starts walking around, checking the books. He's even asking people at other companies. He's asking retired filmmakers and business people exactly, hey, I got a situation with Warner, what should I do? And a lot of these people still working at Warner Brothers at that time knew this. They knew what he was doing, so they knew they were going to get fired. I mean, if you're screwing up, and a lot of these people dealing with this kind of money, they know. Mm-hmm. So when Zaslav came in and started firing people, this was not some crazed dude just deciding, I'm going to just fire people on this. He knew exactly who he was aiming at. And the first person, as soon as he walked through the door, he fired was Ann Sarnoff. Ann Sarnoff was the head was their head person for all feature development and all that stuff answered to her. It was the feature development thing, and she was also the one that for House of the Dragon made the definitive decision to, you know what? I know in the books they look different, but let's just make this entire family here black with blonde hair. She's the one that made that decision. I'm telling you, everything that you saw with Marvel and with Lucasfilm under Disney is exactly what was going on at Warner Brothers. And with what we've been learning from Film Threat, from the investigative stuff put out there by Alan Ng and Chris with the D files and stuff, this is really an industry wide situation. So it wasn't like it was just going to happen with Disney. It's affecting, it's still affecting everything. I'm telling you right now, I would not be surprised if part of the reason why some of the choices that James Gunn is making is because of the very things that they at Film Threat have out there. You know, the choices that they're making people make. A lot of these DEI related meetings, making sure that you have, making sure your writer's room looks a certain way, irregardless of the amount of talent. You know, this is a very dark time to be in the creative industry if you want sanity and you're a fan of comics and science fiction and fantasy, because you're never going to get a true adaptation of a lot of this material because of the way things are running.
Right.
I mean, you literally have to almost burn the entire industry to the ground. And at this point, a friend of mine was telling me just yesterday, he's like, look, man, they're pretty much going to almost have to do that with Disney to get rid of the quote unquote rot within the company. That's the only way that you can do it. You need to basically just fire everybody and then rehire on a case by case basis of what they can bring, because there's a lot of talented people out there that are not being hired. I mean, again, you're starting to see it, and the quality is falling so fast.
Oh,
and so
they don't understand, man. It's just like the Netflix. It's like, oh, we want to bring back these Netflix shows, then hire the people who worked on them. Like, it's a no-brainer. But they don't think of it that way.
Netflix is going through its own internal struggle because, again, years ago, 3-4 years ago, they were just as bad as everybody else. But here's the thing: Netflix got the memo. They started to understand quick. That's because Netflix spends a lot more money than a lot of these other services. I mean, look, streaming is all they do. They got nothing else to do, and they are spending a lot of money. Remember, back in 2000, I think it was 2010, when they started releasing, when all this information came out about how many billions of dollars that Netflix was in debt. I mean, I remember on our show, we were talking about how quickly Netflix was just going to go down. And there's no way this company can keep going, spending the kind of money that they're spending. And yet, all these years later, they're still around. In fact, they are still the #1 streaming service worldwide. And Disney and other services, they're just delaying, in my opinion, the inevitable outside of Amazon and Apple. Those three services, Amazon and Apple, can stay because they got way too much money. They're never really going to go down. No matter how bad they do things, they're never going to go down. But Paramount Plus, I hate to say, for those of you who are fans of what they have, that will probably be the first streaming service to go down because they got nothing financially happening. They're losing too much. And Paramount as a company has lost. Oh, go ahead.
Let me ask you this question. There's been a lot of rumors that CBS, Paramount, and Warner Bros. Might merge. Do you see that happening? And if that does happen, do you see them outright getting rid of Paramount Plus and sticking with Max?
I see what has happened recently. I guess you guys have noticed, and everyone else has noticed, how a lot of stuff that used to be on Max has made its way over to Netflix.
Oh yeah, I brought that up many times.
Well, that's on purpose. David Zaslav is a businessman, first and foremost. He's not about bringing ego into any of this. He wants to make money. Okay? And as of right now, you remember back in the 90s and the early 2000s, back when you still had, when Hollywood was still making, even these nice B and C level movies and films that they would put out in theaters. You notice how a lot of films used to be able to at least last long enough to be able to make money. And well, they stopped all that. And a lot of it was because of secondary marketing or DVD sales. That's pretty much gone away. You have Blu-ray, but you also had cable. And then for a while, streaming. That's where you can make a lot of money if you are willing to do it. Well, Disney is the poster child for how not to do it right. By starting their own service, that means that when you lose money on a particular feature, rather than putting it out there for DVD sale or going straight to cable and or streaming with another service, basically all you're doing is keeping your debt in-house because you're not making any money when you put it on your own service. You're not making any money at all. And so...
Well, look at...
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, well, look at the streaming services. Like, they finally, Spectrum worked out that deal with Disney, and then they took some channels away, but you have Disney Plus for free with ads. Okay, great. But once again, because there's a lot of nice content, but it's the older content. It's like, how many people want to watch a lot of that newer content? I think if you're these streaming services, Netflix, whatever, different ones, it's more about always the old content. I've always felt that way because they just don't pump out good enough content. Sometimes, Edge Runners and even stuff like Arcane surprise me. But even Netflix has their problems. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it's half and half. Like I said, that the Ted Biaselli is the guy that was actually responsible for the entire Masters of the Universe He-Man debacle. That's the name you should remember, not Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith is the beard. He's the distraction. The guy who is actually in charge is Ted Biaselli. He is the one that made it all. Because Kevin admitted, I used to watch a lot of Kevin's content. And during that period of time when they were working on the first season of Masters of the Universe, he kept referencing Ted Biaselli. He was kissing that guy's ass up and fierce before they made the announcement about doing this and developing the show. Well, Ted Biaselli was really the guy who was in charge of the entire project. And he was the one that made the final decision about how everything should go. And if they're, usually when you run a writer's room, when you are the showrunner, which is what Kevin's job was, you are the final arbiter for how everything goes. Kevin admitted that he deferred to Ted Biaselli. So Ted Biaselli made the decisions. And Ted Biaselli, the reason why Kevin did it was Biaselli told Kevin that he was the world's biggest He-Man fan. Since Kevin didn't know anything about He-Man, he deferred to everything that Ted Biaselli wanted to do. Now, I'm not making excuses. I'm just explaining the relationship. You can still not like Kevin if you want, but the person who deserves 99.9% of the blame for everything that went on is Ted Biaselli, a former actor who somehow became a Netflix executive and is now making decisions, basically doing a lot of the DEI type entertainment that Netflix had up until it started to lose the money. And the final, the straw that broke the camel's back was Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop proved that,
Yeah.
if you really piss off and piss on the fans, they're not going to do it no matter what. And then it didn't help when the creator of Cowboy Bebop said
Yes.
what he had to say.
He said, "What the hell is this?" Basically, what did I just watch?
Basically.
He's not.
So that's the reason why One Piece worked.
Yep. But you also have a mutual friend in Brandon, the anime guy, who made it clear how he felt about the Cowboy Bebop live action series, and I don't blame him. What I saw, it was disgusting.
They keep insulting the fans, and then with One Piece, that was, and it's like, well, then go in that direction, Netflix. Don't go in the Cowboy Bebop direction again. If we're gonna do this, go in the One Piece direction, because that was a big
One Piece
for Netflix.
That's right, but the big thing about One Piece is they made sure to have the creator with them. That's the difference. You work with the. I mean, that's how the Harry Potter films got so big. People keep wanting to discount the fact that how often do you see the creator, author of a particular IP work so closely with filmmakers on translating their work? And she worked on pretty much every film they put out. And look how much money they made.
A lot, man.
Oodles.
So
for good reason.
It doesn't really matter how you feel about any of this. What you got to get and understand, it takes a lot of money to make this stuff. If you're not interested in making any of that money back, my thing is, then be honest. Tell your lenders, tell the banks, tell your shareholders up front. We don't care how much money we lose. We're just going to put this out the way we want and see how quickly things change.
Yeah.
Well, gone are the days
you think
that
you can keep your job.
Gone are the days that
you
had Roy Disney. Gone are the days when you had Roy Disney keeping Walt in line, saying, "Hey, we got to, I'm the money guy. We got to do it this way so we can make money to make sure your creations, your ideas, get out there." You don't have that balance. It seems like anymore.
That's it.
Between creator and books.
That's right. Yes, that's it. Walt's job was to be Walt. Okay, he had Roy on one side and Iwerks on the other. Was the talent guy. Was pretty much Scotty. He can make it work. You give him enough time, he will fabricate something or he will figure it out. It was who hired the animators in the animating room. He hired all those guys. Look at what was able to accomplish when he broke away from Disney. When he started his own animation studio. Look at the list of people who got their big breaks working for even though his small studio didn't last that long. Look at all the people who came in and worked for during that short period of time, because a lot of them, you would not have Woody Woodpecker. You would not even have Warner Brothers without a lot of what did. Was that talented. And again, you've got to surround yourself with the people that actually truly know what they're doing. You got to know your role within any company, within any relationship. If your job is to just be the guy that can distract people and make people happy at the same time, be that guy. Be the face. Do whatever you got to do. And let the people who actually know what they're doing do that.
Exactly. Well, it reminds me of the film that Blake Edwards did, S.O.B. And his attack on the film industry back then. It's like, what's changed? Other than the fact technology, from that movie. Anyone who hasn't seen the film S.O.B., go see S.O.B.
Blake Edwards is just one of those guys who I grew up idolizing because of his ability to be able to turn almost anything funny. Doesn't matter the subject matter. When you look at a lot of the films that he made, starting with 10, and all the subject matter is not that funny. but what he ended up doing with it. I mean, you're talking a guy that created an entire comedy about a guy who, you know, loved and cheated on every woman he was with, who then died and came back and was reincarnated as a woman. In another movie, there's a scene, and I'm trying to do this delicately. There's a scene where two guys are fighting.
Yeah. And the glow
You know what I'm about to say, right? Yep. Glow in the dark condoms.
And that was the big thing about it. That was the big shock this film was going to have. And it was Ritter. John Ritter was in it.
Yep. Well, I mean, look at it this way. I mean, Blake Edwards, even with SOB, I mean, SOB has one big surprise in the film, and that's the big reveal with Julie Andrews.
Oh, yeah.
Which, yeah, now you remember. I remember looking at that going, whoa, okay.
Oh, I
can stand to see a lot more of that. I can stand to see a lot more of that. But
oh my,
again,
it's alive, I tell you what.
But again, it's just if you think SOB had a lot to say about the industry, check out the movie Sunset.
Oh yeah, another one. Yes.
That's James Garner and Bruce Willis.
Yep.
And that movie itself had a lot to say about Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Give or take
so,
a wire.
I mean, big points on that. It's just, Hollywood at this point in time truly is at a crossroads. And the unfortunate thing is that depending on how soon they can pull themselves out of it, there might be something left to save. But we don't know really the extent of the damage at this point. I can definitely say this. In my personal opinion, this current generation of writers and directors, they're lost. They're gone. Mm-hmm. They're done. Animation for this current generation's done. It's just Disney has done incredible damage to the animation industry here in the United States. And the very fact that they are proud of opening a animation division in Canada should sicken every single person who was ever a fan of American animation. I got nothing against anybody in Canada, and they have a history of great animation. But the point is, we're talking Walt Disney here, the Walt Disney Company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, take a look at Heavy Metal, great film.
Oh, if Walt were still alive, that would have killed him. That right there would have killed him.
People want to always argue with you. Like it was probably about a few months ago. I'm like, you explain to people, it's like, just start peeling the layers. And other people are like, no, that's stupid to think that Disney just wants to lose money. And I'm like, all they do is, it's not just Disney. Like a lot of these companies are just bleeding money. Just see what's going on at the box office. See what's going on with these shows. They're not doing well. And so stop. What are you defending exactly? What exactly are you defending? This is true.
We took a look at the box office numbers for this weekend, and they're abysmal.
Yep.
As much as I liked that Mission Impossible movie last year, Keith, I have to admit the budget was bloated.
It was.
No reason for that.
Well, now I have nothing against Mission Impossible in that production because Tom Cruise is not a quote unquote W buster. You know, he was just trying to make good movies. I mean, he's one of the few people that's actually interested in making, in basically getting people back to the theater and making sure they have a good time. Not just producing product, but you get more bang for your buck. And we need a lot more people like that.
Yes, we do. We only have a few. We need more.
To have somebody appear and just say thank you to the audience That goes a long way.
It does.
You
I
know,
agree.
Mhm.
It does. Yes.
not a lot of these people currently could ever muster up the guts nor the humility to be able to stand in front of an audience and say, I cannot do what I do without you. And I want to thank each and every one of you for allowing me the tremendous honor and opportunity to entertain you.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
have
could care
that,
less what they accuse
acceptance-
Tom
Yeah.
Cruise of, but after that,
Right. Yep.
yeah. But it
Mhm.
is. They should go ahead and make that a normal thing. Every Hollywood star should have to say that to the audience
Yes,
before the film
agree.
begins.
Without us, you guys aren't anything. Like, it's not
Mhm.
arrogance. It's just honesty.
Well, yeah, it's the truth.
Yeah, it's honesty. It's
Consumer.
straight up honesty. Yeah. I mean, this entire thing, all of this stuff is just outrageous. If somebody had told me 15, 20 years ago that things are going to be
Right.
this bad, but we can
But-
still save it. We as fans can still save it.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like, it's just if we went into, like, the four of us into a boardroom and we go, look, if you're not going to care about the source material, and I've always said this, Keith, then make something entertaining. It's like, okay, we've got to check this box. We've got to have this minority. We've got to have this character. Okay, what do they mean to the story? What do they fucking mean to the story? If they
There you
don't
go.
mean anything to the story, then it's a huge problem. And a lot of these people have forgotten it. Not Christopher Nolan and other people have been around. Other people have forgotten that, it doesn't matter. It should always matter. And if you're not going to make something that's based on source material, where people say, there's no source material for this, which is also bullshit, then make something actually entertaining. That people go, wow, somebody made that. And even if it fails,
you know what?
Maybe something else comes out of it.
There you go. No, that is exactly it. That is it in a nutshell. It's part of the reason why I feel bad for Anthony Mackie. You know,
I got you.
I do not look at Anthony Mackie as being someone that wanted to see a lot of his films and projects, being the new Captain America. I get all of that. Look, actors are actors, and very few of them are fans. Okay?
Right.
He only knows what he was given to say and the scripts and everything. He only knows that stuff, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I feel bad for him because this situation with Captain America 4 is the absolute worst. If you did not think that everything that Marvel's was just like the absolute floor, no, it's not. Captain America 4 is even going to do worse than the Marvels.
Well, look at how bad
Because-
Winter Soldier was. I mean, not the movie, but I mean the series, Falcon and Winter Soldier. They went off on these tangents about agenda and who were the only ones who created America, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me with this shit?
And that goes to hiring people who are not familiar with the source material.
Right.
If they had hired Marcus and McFeely, who were the guys who wrote Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and who wrote Civil War, and who wrote a lot of those other movies, if they had used those guys, that script would have been tight.
Yeah. Dude,
And
and they were talking about even bringing the Russo brothers back. I'm like, yeah, and give them the reins like you did before. Give them the power to do all this stuff, and then we'll see things again like Winter Soldier. I don't care what anybody says about that movie. That movie also connected with Agents of Shield. And after with Agents of Shield, we had bringing in I can't think of the group now. I can't think of the group right now, Keith. Who they brought in? Hydra. There it is, Hydra. They brought in Hydra, and you look at stuff like Agents of Shield or Agent Carter, and you're just like, why don't you guys go in this direction again? Because they don't seem to have the people anymore who give a crap about this stuff.
That's right. Well, and on top of that, they wasted a character who could have very easily have helped them back to that. Agents of Atlas should have been the next direction that they went.
Mm-hmm.
Agents of Atlas is a comic that is phenomenal, led off by a former Shield agent who's now running his own group of superheroes in counter espionage. I tell anybody, check out those books, check out those stories. It's great stuff. The character, Agent, I think his name's Agent Wu. I could be wrong, but that's the same character that you see in WandaVision and in let's see, Ant-Man and the Wasp. He's the one checking up to make sure that that's him. But they play him for laughs. He's actually a very serious, kick-ass character, and that's what the MCU has done to that character.
Oh, the goofiness of all this stuff is ridiculous, Keith. It's too much. There's no balance between being more serious and being goofy like there was before. It's ridiculous. And people don't care. Other people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's so funny. I'm like, is it?
Yeah. And again, it I will say this. I have my qualms. I have my complaints about James Gunn. But overall, for Marvel Studios was going to be, if he had not have been fired and been allowed to continue to go the direction that he was originally wanting to go, I think Marvel as a whole would have been all the better for it, although I still think they would have ended up eventually relieving him of his job if he didn't kowtow to what they were wanting down the road. But I think I am worried a little, but not as worried as where Marvel is going to be by the time James Gunn stuff hits, because that's just bad. And as of right now, looks like DC is actually, I don't know if you've heard this, DC Comics is actually going out and trying to get back talent. They are actually openly now talking about paying people real money to come back.
They should.
And so is Marvel. Although the danger for Marvel Comics is that if Disney continues to go down this road that they've been going the last few years, then Marvel Comics is going to get left behind. And as I've been telling people, you do remember why Marvel Studios was started. Okay, Marvel Studios was started because of years and years and years of Hollywood studios not getting it right. And Ike Perlmutter decided to go ahead and sign off on it after dealing with Fox and especially with dealing with Sony, and decided to create their own studio whose sole purpose was to take the IP of Marvel Entertainment and to translate it into film so that they could take advantage and basically so that they can help to expand the readership of the comics and the IP for other products and other things that they could put out later. Basically, Marvel Studios was not the center of Marvel Entertainment. It was a portion of Marvel Entertainment. It was to be the film division to allow them to adapt their comics. Now, all these years later, since Perlmutter's gone and Kevin Feige's been in charge, Marvel Studios is really at the center of Marvel Entertainment. Everything that they do now caters to what they do in the movies. That is back asswards to how it should be.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, one of the things I was saying before you came on the show too, that we seem to have a problem with is they're catering to a viewership now that has their nose shoved into a phone doing their TikToks while the shows have been are on TV or the streaming service, even the theaters, which is why they sit back and say, "Please turn your freaking phone off." Mike, of course, sat back. It's been that way for 10 years. Well, you take a look at the age of these filmmakers that are coming in here, especially with Disney and such. Well, that is the generation. They're making those films like they watched them. You lose story building. You lose meaningful items just for the flash whiz bangs.
Yep. You do. No, and it makes no sense. It really angers me that when you look at what Joe Johnston, Kenneth Branagh, even Joss Whedon, and the Russo brothers were able to do. I mean, they could not have set them up any better. And yet, in a relatively short amount of time, they have completely wasted every single opportunity that those filmmakers and the writers of all those projects gave them.
Right.
And again, I don't care what anybody has to say about the Warner Brothers stuff. I will say this: for anyone that believed that part of the fail because Zack Snyder was able to be the Kevin Feige, let me at least help you to understand something. Kevin Feige is the president of Marvel Studios. That job entails him basically being in charge of everything. He gets to help develop projects. He gets to oversee, say yay, say nay. He gets to help cast, all that stuff. Okay, but most importantly, he decides who gets funding and for how much. None of that stuff is what Zack Snyder was going to be the guy for, because he's a director. You don't give that kind of power to a director. Okay? No. And that's for anyone else that even follows, for anything else, for any reason. You will never, ever have a quote-unquote Kevin Feige. I don't care if you're talking Warner Brothers or Sony or whatever. Unless you are willing to give somebody the power. And this also includes James Gunn. James Gunn is there to make movies. He does not control who gets how much money for whatever. He answers to someone. So as long as you have that person answering to someone else, you're never really going to get a quote-unquote another Kevin Feige. And given what Kevin Feige has done, that will be a permanent thing. Kevin Feige has gone from being this guy who can do no wrong, the ultimate producer, the ultimate creator, to, you don't want to pull a Kevin Feige. You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot, then reload the gun and shoot yourself in the other foot, which is what he's done.
Yeah, he's almost become a verb. Oh, I Feige'd myself.
Yeah. I mean, you can have disagreements and dislikes of things that James Gunn's done or will do,
right?
That Zack Snyder did, that anybody did, but none of these people was Kevin Feige. Even Joss Whedon, he never had that job. You know, when he was doing all that stuff for Marvel, he was doing it under the watchful eye of Kevin Feige.
Yeah. I just wish
Feige has.
Go ahead. Oh, I just wish that James Gunn would stop talking so much, because sometimes he just runs his mouth too much on social media. Shut up, man! Until you actually have some concrete information that's going to be good, I just stop, man. He's not the only one, but it's just like
he should. No, he should not have been allowed to say anything until after Aquaman.
And talking about how much he liked The Flash, well, good, dude. Whoever liked The Flash, guess what? It's still bombed. So.
Yep. Well, The Flash had a lot of good ideas. Let me put it to you this way. You know what? The Flash did bomb, but it had enough good ideas to allow Kevin Feige to take some of those ideas and basically turn it into Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, I like that movie.
You did know about that, right?
No, actually, I didn't.
The script for The Flash took so long to be developed, and it took them so long to actually film it, that Feige took a lot of those ideas from that script. Again, I've never figured out how Feige has been able to get stuff from Warner Brothers and be able to use it against them, because they got so good at making movies. They had an incredible turnaround time to be able to use stuff against them. Whether you're talking Batman v Superman and what they ended up making changes to Civil War to match what they were doing with Batman v Superman, or in finding out things like, oh, well, they're gonna do this with the Flash. Well, we can just make a Spider-Man movie and take advantage of that. You know.
Funny.
And then they got the insidiousness that we outburst, so this makes it look like the other person's copying us.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I tell people all the time. Now that we've been able to see Zack Snyder's official book that he wrote, his outline for the 3 Justice League movies, you now know where Kevin Feige got the idea to kill Tony Stark. That came from that. How do I know? When Zack Snyder's Justice League was premiering on HBO Max, in the weeks and months leading up to its premiere, they had an unveiling of all these costumes and stuff in Texas, down at the AT&T Center, where you got the chance to see all the costumes. Well, one of the items they included was the book that Zack Snyder's outline of the story for both Justice League 2, and Justice League 3. And the penultimate end of all 3 movies was the death of Batman. That was to be the end. And Feige took that and used it to create the death of Tony Stark. Because you got to remember, it's the Justice League on Apocalypse going up against Darkseid and his minions.
Yeah, not an easy feat.
No, Darkseid.
Not easy at all. But that was again. You can look it up now because it's out for the public to see. You can read the entire outline. And some people, I noticed one person's like, "Man, this is like Infinity War and Endgame." Well, where do you think they got the idea from? Look at when it was written, because Snyder talked about that in an interview. He's had this for a long time. Warner Brothers had this for a long time. And it's already been proven that Marvel and Kevin Feige were very good at taking ideas and having a quick turnaround and utilizing that stuff. A lot of it due to scrapbooking, which works when you have talented directors and producers and writers and technical people to do it. But when you're dealing with people that don't have very much experience, when you're dealing with directors who have never worked on big budget films, when you're dealing with writers who don't have as much experience, you notice it's really hard to do the whole scrapbooking thing, as you now see with Captain America 4.
That's why the people who, it's logical to say, then read some of the source material and actually study it, and then see what we can do.
They're never going to do it.
No, they won't.
They're never going to do it. They're never going to do it.
They don't care.
And after what happened with Fantastic Four, they look. You can hope in one hand and crap in the other. Which do you think is going to fill up faster with Kevin Feige still in charge? Pedro Pascal being cast as Reed Richards.
Yeah, Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, Reed Richards.
It's being done for the sole purpose of making Reed Richards the bad guy in that film.
That's not how it works. But
they are not following anything other than you're only going to get what you've gotten to this point. Remember, once Phase 4 started, we are comfortably in the middle of everything that Kevin Feige wants to do. All of the creative people that helped get him through phases 1 through 3 are gone. And he's got people in there that either had no previous experience with Marvel prior to that, or little to no experience overall. So Kevin Feige's running the entire show. So everything starting with Black Widow on has all been what Kevin Feige wanted to do. All of it. All of it. Yeah. So you're never going to get an exact representation of what the comics are. I don't care what anybody says. You're never going to get that.
I know.
Not even close to it. That's the reason why Blade has been so difficult. You know, you heard about what that original Blade script that they had was just so bad. And yet, part of the reason why you don't have an actual
Blade in there. Right, and Blady Blade I was
waiting
for is still be in there.
That's part of the plan. That's the one thing they're never going to try to change, because there's nobody there to tell Kevin Feige what to do, which is what Bob Chapek was going to do. He was going to be the guy leaning on Kevin Feige, going, "Nah, I don't like that."
You need
change it.
Yeah, it's too much control for one person. I agree. Yeah.
Now, Keith, I did want to ask you about another IP and another person who is in charge of that IP, and that's Star Trek and Alex Kurtzman.
No, there's a can of worms you just opened.
Well, let me just say this about Star Trek and Alex Kurtzman. I think Alex Kurtzman has never shown himself to be anybody of any real talent. And this is having had someone on our show twice who was technically his boss towards the beginning of his career. He's been the same person all the way up. You know, he's not shown himself to be anyone you could easily trust. And allegedly, he is... That's way too much ego in a body, to the point where he's willing to sabotage the one successful thing to come out of all of this mess that he's created with Star Trek to satiate his ego. You know, that's the real reason why Terry Matalas is not going to be working on Star Trek Legacy. That's it. All that him and Han, all of that stuff after Picard season 3 had nothing to do with anything other than Kurtzman's ego. Because Kurtzman is still the overall boss of all of Star Trek. All of what I like to call K-Trek for CBS and Paramount now. And what I heard was they are planning on doing Star Trek Legacy. They want everybody back, but Terry Matalas will not be running it. It will be Alex Kurtzman.
It's crazy to think all about that, Keith, because, of course, Kurtzman was a producer on that successful Hawaii Five-0 reboot. So, you know, it's just... It's really something. I don't think he had that much say, obviously, but still, it's just you see that name, it's like, oh, you were involved in that. You know, that was very successful. And what he's done with Star Trek, I just go, because the three of us, I don't know if Baron finished it, but even that, I know he wasn't as involved in like Picard season 3, but my gosh, if Picard could say he's sorry one more fucking time, Keith, I'm gonna throw myself out of the airlock.
I'm sorry. I'm so very, very sorry.
Let me let you in on that. The thing about the first 2 seasons of Picard pretty much was Kurtzman, but Kurtzman had something else that he had to go do. So the original plan was they were looking at possibly not having a season 3. You know, Goldsman was busy, Kurtzman was going to be busy. The only reason why we got a season 3 is because Terry Matalas wanted to do it. He volunteered to do it.
Mhm.
And the only rule that he was under was he couldn't change anything. He couldn't take it outside of the universe the way that Kurtzman and Goldsman had set everything up. They had to use they had to basically use all of the story setup from seasons 1 and 2 of Picard, plus the way the universe was created under Kurtzman. Outside of that, knock yourself out. And I believe, personally, that Kurtzman in his own ego thought that Terry Matalas would just basically not do well. I mean, he'd make something, but he wouldn't do that well. He never expected that season overall of that show to be the highest rated thing in all of K-Trek. It is the only Star Trek series under Kurtzman that has ever gotten into the Nielsen Top 10. Only.
Mm-hmm.
And Cash, Baron, myself, and Laura Crit, we watched season 3. I know, Baron, you only watched a couple of episodes and then you were out. But as we're watching it, I'm there. I'm steaming. I'm hemming. I'm hawing at certain things like, you know, the Federation torturing the changelings. I just couldn't buy that.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
All
again,
the
that was part of the deal. It's the deal with the devil.
Yep.
It is the deal with the devil.
How Ensign Rowe was insulted. How some of these characters we just bring back and they just kill them, and the way they kill them. The fact that I've never really sat down until season 3 of Picard and really watched a whole season or even like a full episode, and all the cursing, the fuck and the shit, Keith, is like, this is so out of place for Star Trek. So out of place.
It is. I agree.
The whole thing about Geordi's, one of his daughters saying, "Oh, Geordi had trouble making friends," and where Mike and I were just, I think our heads were about to explode. And Crit, it's like, that's not true. Why are we changing this? This is bullshit. Like, seriously, like, this is absolute bullshit. That's not true. He had problems with women, but he did not have problems making friends. Her father. I'm like, are you guys serious with this shit? Are you fucking serious? Like, oh, but it shouldn't matter to other people. Yes, it should.
I mean, you think about one of his friends who started out as a character that, you know, Geordi wanted nothing to do with. He wanted him transferred to another ship after he was transferred to the Enterprise. Was Reginald Barclay. He became one of Geordi's best friends.
Yep. But that's the thing. I choose to look at it as this is still an alternative universe to what was. I subscribe to the theory that Star Trek First Contact changed everything. And that because Picard and the crew did not follow proper procedures in making sure that nobody knew who they were, what their mission was, and how all that went down, by allowing them to keep what they had seen, that it had changed everything from that point on. And so it created a different future, including Enterprise. It retroactively started that you are now, once you reach the end of First Contact and you get the credits, everything that comes thereafter, you're in an alternative universe to what you had originally started with. That everything that you had seen in Star Trek up to First Contact was exactly the way it was always meant to happen. And that once you got to that, everything changed. You are now on the road to discovery and all that stuff. And the reason why I say that is this. Everybody knows that the Enterprise that they use in Strange New Worlds is a much different Enterprise than the one from the original series. Not only in terms of construction, I mean, it's a much larger Enterprise. Well, why would you have if you're going to stick to that whole, this is still all the same thing, well, how would you explain that? Well, it's easy to explain. When you get to Enterprise, there is an episode in the first season, I think, or second season, I think, where
Second
Archer is
season,
talking to
where-
T'Pol.
Yep.
Yes. And he talks about how the incident that is described by Cochrane as having fought mechanical men who tried to take over and stop his launch, and people from the future. That was something that he had testified to, and Archer had that, and how he stopped talking about it after a while because people thought he was crazy.
Mhm.
Well, the idea is that that altered everything. That means you altered the future for what the Federation would eventually become by allowing them to hang on to all of that stuff and letting them know that there's dangerous stuff out here, unlike the original version of how everything had happened for the beginning of the Federation, where it was all about exploration, which gave us the Star Trek stuff that we knew. What Roddenberry's original concept was, once you allowed Cochrane, going back in time, to have that information, it created a kind of a slightly different future where all your starships now are bigger. They are battle hardened and ready to go because there's dangerous stuff out there. They know that now going into it. And while that might seem to be a little thing, it's a big thing because now humanity is like, okay, there's a lot of dangerous stuff out here. We got to be ready to prepare. We got to be prepared to defend ourselves versus we want to go out, we want to explore, we want to see what's out there. It's to the uninitiated, the ones who really don't pay attention, it sounds like I just said the same thing, but really there's a difference. And so what you're dealing with is an entire timeline that was altered because Cochrane was able to keep all that knowledge.
Yeah, and I was going to say that second season episode where Archer and crew encounter the Borg, it holds merit to what you're saying about the timeline being altered.
And that's the reason why, that's the reason why when you look at even Star Trek 2009, why everything centers on Archer. You talk about the past. They go all the way back to Archer. They reference Archer in the 2009 movie. They reference Archer and the way that, again, that we saw him in First Contact. That's even referenced in K-Trek. So that's your key point. I don't think that the NX-01 and Archer existed. Why? Because in the original Star Trek timeline, they never existed. It was not part of Picard's line of ships that you saw in First Contact. And it definitely wasn't part of the Enterprise gallery in Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Or in the Ready Room on the original series.
Yep.
Because even in the Ready Room, you saw the aircraft carrier Enterprise, and then, of course, the original Constitution class Enterprise, the refit Enterprise, the Enterprise B, C, and D.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, and then notice in Star Trek, in the second JJ movie, notice on the Admiral's desk, it's all of the same ship models that you saw in Star Trek the Motion Picture and the NX-01. That's the difference. There's an NX-01 model among them. That's the change.
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting back thinking about people not knowing what the difference is. There's a difference between an explorer knowing that you're going out into dangerous waters, but you have wanderlust, and you're going where no one has gone before, and that always has danger. But there's wanderlust compared to, I know there's a danger because there's bad people out there, and the first thing we must be prepared for is to fight.
Yes. That is the whole of what K-Trek is built on, and the entire changes after that. after Star Trek First Contact. So one could definitely say, or at least wonder, well, then if Picard and the crew had actually done what they should have done and wiped memories and everything else, what would have happened thereafter? You know, would Picard and the crew have ever even had to worry about the Shinjin or Data dying or being destroyed? Everything that happened after that would not have happened. So,
Exactly.
yeah, the dark version of the Federation, of that entire universe, is because of what happened in First Contact.
Well, we also saw the divergence also in Enterprise of that same exact thing with the First Contact when they created the Empire.
Yep. Yeah.
Third Empire.
Well, I mean, that's crossing over into the it's crossing over into the mirror universe in a sense. But yeah, it's look, by then a lot of the people that worked on the show, especially Rick Berman, the dude was burning out. You know, it wasn't Star Trek fatigue. It was the fact that people like Rick Berman, they were just done. You know, if Ronald D. Moore had been listened to and they hadn't lied to him, apparently, supposedly, we would have had a much better quality going in. And they probably would have done what Ronald D. Moore had told them to do from the get-go, which is don't make any shows going backwards. Make all the shows go forward. And they probably should have done a Klingon show, is really what they should have done. They should have just done an entire show about the Klingon Empire. They should have done a show about what happened in the years after with Mudd's planet, that entire planet of androids, which again they have conveniently forgot about. You've got an entire planet filled with androids. You know, there's all kinds of ways they could have gone. They chose not to do any of that. Of course, then again, it's easy to do that when you really don't invest any time into understanding and watching all of the original episodes. And as I've been arguing, the best way to look at that is the lack of understanding of who Kirk was. Kirk's entire storyline, as given to us by the original series, is way different than what a lot of these people who have come in and have no understanding of Star Trek have tried to interpret it to be. Kirk was not a womanizer.
No.
He was a young man marked by a lot of really tragic things that happened to him, starting with Anton Cridian. You know, you're a young kid out with your parents on a distant planet. You're going to make friends. And while you're there, in the months after, you see people dying in the street, starvation, other things, and then a mass execution. That's going to affect how you see things. That's going to affect how you see people. And again, think of it. You make friends there, and probably some of those friends got killed. So that starts his drive. Oh, go ahead.
I mean,
go ahead.
I was going to say, he's described as someone who's always going around with books and reading and studying.
Yes. Yes.
He was a serious student. He wasn't.
That's it. Yes.
He wasn't going around being frivolous.
Yep. It's a different sort of thing. And I really do think that really he learned how to do a lot of that stuff from Mitchell. And the only reason why he does it, the only reason why he does what he does, is that in certain instances, I think he does it as a way of honoring his friend Mitchell and having more fun with his life. You know, I think he feels he's a character that is noted to having feel in a sort of debt to those who have passed. When you think about, you know, when you think about the episode where Kirk froze when he was first officer on an away mission, having to kill this entity. Yes. He felt a sense of, vengeance, yes, but also to honor those that had passed. Look how hard he takes it every time anyone dies. Anyone dies.
Mhm.
This is a
Well, not only
character
that, he
that
also
is,
had guilt.
yes. I mean, he basically had to kill his best friend for an
Mhm.
accident that he had no control over. You know, it's, this is a guy who had to do whatever it took to help his people survive. And again, while the Enterprise did make it, it did survive that 5-year mission. He did lose a lot of people,
Mhm.
Mhm.
People forget that.
and I think for him, he never really forgot that. It's not something that you can just easily shake off. Uh,
No.
that's what really makes Kirk Kirk. He's not some guy that's flying around the galaxy trying to get with all the women. He's a guy that has a job to do. A guy
Mhm.
who is reminded a lot by how much is on his shoulders. But at the core of a lot of that is the understanding, just like what he told Picard, as long as you sit there, you can make a difference. And when you
Mhm.
think back to what happened with Anton Caridian at the very beginning of what I was saying, that's really the drive. He can affect people's lives. He can save people
Mhm.
as long as he's sitting there in that chair.
He
He can make a
cheated death.
difference. Yeah. In both in yeah, now with the Farragut, that's the other thing. He cheated death. But before that it was the drive to save. I
Mhm.
think he was a kid when that happened. And when I say kid, I think I'm thinking more like 12, 13 years old.
Mhm.
You know, he if he had been the commander of a starship, he I think felt that he could have stopped what was happening.
Mhm.
He could have saved a lot of lives while this guy
And
killed his own people.
right, and that's what I think when he's a little deeper meaning in that when he was saying he cheated death. It wasn't just for himself; it was
Hmm.
for others.
Yes, yes. So it is. He is a really complex, really cool character, and then you see how K-Trek treats him, and he's adult. You know, there's not much going on, and that's fine. You
Mhm.
see how JJ treats him. Again,
Yeah.
definitely in the JJ films. I mean, he's all about the womanizing. And when you
Mhm.
leave out him getting bullied, when you leave out a friend of his who's constantly taking him out, and you leave out how hard he had to study,
Mhm.
well, then you're leaving out, really incredible bits of information about his character. But I
Mhm.
totally get why JJ did it. You're trying to, you're making a movie not for Star Trek fans, but for the audiences that think they know the more
Mhm.
pop culture version of the character. So by
Right.
having him be studious, that's not quite what people quote unquote expect. That's not quite what non fans expect. They expect to
Mhm.
see him sleeping with anything with a heartbeat. And that's fine, because it's an alternative universe. That's the reason why I never really got bent out of shape about it. It's an alternate universe and alternate versions of all these characters, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Kurtzman Trek, on the other hand, that bugs the ever living mess out of me because it's just it's badly done. It's
Mhm.
just bad writing.
Well, see, that's
It's
where
just bad writing.
that's where I kind of diverge a little bit from you, Keith. It does bother me those films because it was the one that ushered in the mindset of Kurtzman Trek. Because now they're
Hmm.
catering to the mind-numbed pseudo fans, the ones that are trendy. We're trendy fans. It's trendy to be a Star Trek fan, and that helped open up the gates of Kurtzman Trek because of that conception in Paramount. And needless to say, uh, that's why we got the crap and why Paramount is basically shitting on Kirk all the time now. They're calling him infamous for crying out loud. You never
Yeah.
call your hero infamous. And this is straight from Paramount. So I guess it does bother me, even though it's a quote unquote parallel universe. Well, these pinheads don't think that because again they're trendies. And then what happens? It opens the door for Kurtzman to do his garbage. And
Yeah,
I think it was just that poisoning that got in it, and now it's building and building, and that's why we got what we have today.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
Mhm. So I mean, it's just it's infuriating because you could have that studious Kirk. You could have thrown Gary Mitchell in there. Why they could have included Gary Mitchell in the movies and have him kind of that quote unquote, like you were saying, corrupting factor. Come on, lighten up a little bit, Jimmy.
Eh,
Where's Finnegan being his, picking on him? You could have had a lot of that stuff in there instead of the other garbage they had in the JJ films. Expanded on, and I think it would have touched more people, including the trendy fans.
yeah. And real
Hmm.
quick, gentlemen, Keith has to go. Keith,
Oh,
I want to thank you for spending what time you're able to spend with us today, and I want to offer an open invitation to return at any time.
Well,
thanks, Keith.
you guys honored me with just inviting me. I want to just say first and foremost, thank you, and to just say that you guys do incredible work. Seriously, your love
Oh,
of geekdom and your passion shows, and that's really what we need. We need more like you, who are passionate and who are willing to speak up and who are willing to talk about that passion and the things that made all of this stuff, just made you just love it from the very beginning. And if we had more like that, I think things would be a lot better, a lot better. So thank you all again. Seriously. Thank you.
well, I mean, thank you seriously because
Yeah.
you're my friend, and I also admire you greatly. And I don't know how much I talk about you with these guys, you and Gary both. So
Mhm.
it's as I like to tell these guys, Keith, you're okay. You're okay.
Well, I mean this sincerely, Keith. There are few YouTubers who are actually a good inspiration. You and Gary are one of them, and Stone Loki's the other. And what you guys do each and every week,
I
you know,
to be up there with him. Yeah, to be up there with him. Yeah. Anyway, I do have to go though. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
thank you, and
Let's do
I will
something
talk to
again,
you
man.
next time.
Yeah.
all
Take
right.
care, brother. Love you, man.
You got it.
Thank you,
Bye.
brother.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you have never experienced the brilliant mind of Keith, there it is. And forgive me for speaking out of turn here, Mike, but yeah, if you ever get a chance, listen to Pop Culture Minefield, listen to what he has to say. This man is a walking Wikipedia,
Mm-hmm.
except his Wikipedia is far more factual.
Yes, and I'm grateful he was able to spend some time with us today. I really appreciate him taking time out of his day, especially when you have a family emergency on your
Yeah.
hands.
Hmm.
That's not easy, and
No, no. I mean,
I
was willing to forego and let him do his thing, but I mean,
yeah,
he's a trooper, man. He is a trooper, and we need more YouTubers like him, just like you said, all the way across
hmm
the board.
yeah, and I mean it when I say that my inspirations are Keith and Gary over at Pop Culture Minefield and Stone Loki
Hmm. Right.
because of the way they do things.
Hmm.
Yes, I'm going to make sure that we have our own flavor here for Pop
Hmm.
Talk because I don't want to be a cookie cutter. I don't want to be a copycat of everything
Well,
that
hold on.
everyone else does.
Hmm.
But
Right.
if you've never listened to Stone Loki, you're missing out. And if you've never listened to Keith and Gary at Pop Culture Minefield, you're missing out.
Big time. And I need to show up on their show a little bit more often. As I feel bad for not being. I don't even know when they have it anymore on Saturday. My Saturday's been busy. But yeah, it's always fun dealing with them. Even when I have other shows, when it's not the Pop Culture Minefield, I know he and I sometimes had a tendency to kind of take over. Sorry, Brian. Some of his shows, uh, but especially when it comes to Star Trek and such. But there's no denying it. You can hear it in his voice. You can hear it in the passion, his love,
Mm-hmm.
his love. This is, he, as much as me, loves the storytelling, the world building, the hero building, the villain building, even. And each one has their place, and it needs to be done right. And it's not a vanity project. It goes beyond that. You have to think beyond yourself when you do this. And Gary is one of those guys. He does think beyond himself, and that's why it's interesting to get those little perspectives. And just like everything else, I don't necessarily agree with him completely on everything, and vice versa. But you know what? It's with respect. We both have our reasonings and groundings on it. It's just not knee-jerk reactions, and that's a great thing about Keith. He isn't, as anyone was hearing here, is a knee-jerk about it.
Yeah, he's all headed about things. He looks at it from a perspective of logic and reason.
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, he is a freaking Vulcan of our fandom. That's what I'm going to start calling him, the Vulcan of fandom. No, what a cool mic. Getting him on there. It's great.
Well, and here's the thing, and I don't want anybody to think this is why I do it. I'm not doing it, asking different folks to come on for views. I'm asking them to come on so we get a chance to talk with them, get their perspective on things. Maybe even, hear their perspective on something that they don't even talk about themselves on their own channel.
Right.
But it's to get to know people more.
And Keith and Gary and Stone Loki, these are all gentlemen you want to get to know better. Even people like Fat Stevens and people like Lord Crit. I mean, I think we have a nice little solid group of friends that we deal with here.
We do.
And
speaking of Fat Steven, I've learned things on how to make thumbnails by watching how he does it on his streams and how he talks about it. And I've done several game streams with him and had a lot of fun. We've had the honor of having Loki on the channel a few times as a guest. And that's what I look at, Again, it's not about the views. It's about conversation. Because that's one of the things I say at the end of every description. I might word it a little differently each time, depending on how I write the sentence or paragraph. But the point of Pop Talk is to sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was more than happy to defer back a little bit to have Cash talk, because Cash has never had the honor of talking with them. And I know they vibe on the same level many times. So I hope, Cash has probably gone to doing dishes, or he's probably gone off to Whole Food or something like that right now. So
you know how Cash is.
I know. He's just, he's Cash. What else can you say? Maybe he's trying to make me happy. He ran off to Fullerton looking for a police officer to say, hey, can you just do something so I can appear on Patrol Live to make Baron happy? Because Cash is that type of guy. He would go that extra mile.
Wow. Now that's a tall order, Anonymous.
Hey, let me get a hold of Drunk 3PO here and see if if I can get an in there. Huh? How's that sound? And yeah, I mean, that right there, I'm still rooting for. I mean, I want it to go. I think it will go. I think it will go to court. We have some rabid dogs there They smell they smell a little bit of food there. They want to get that. It's like you get out of the way of them. That's for sure.
Hmm. I just don't see Gina or Elon settling out of court. No.
No, because this is more than just settling out of court. This is to send a message. This is a message lawsuit across
Yeah.
the board. And you saw the Ripple with the bullshit article by the Mary Sue, where they've been doing too much Mary Jane before writing, and basically destroying their own argument with their own words, improving the hypocrisy of being quote unquote a feminist in fandom.
It's nonsense. It's always
yeah, sure,
nonsense, but yeah, I just got back. Um, it's just something. I don't know. I don't know where this lawsuit is going to go. Steve might have a point. This lawsuit may be thrown out, may not go anywhere. But any people, Elon, whoever it is, they want to harass Disney. I'm all for it. Disney, especially the last few years, have just been going at it at fans. He says, "Look, don't do this. You're racist. Don't do this. You're sexist," and on and on and on. I mean, I know two wrongs don't make a right, but in certain cases, I don't know. I just don't care. Somebody takes a wrecking ball to Disney, I'm all for it. Just the nonsense that has been going on with that company last few years is just ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what we saw that they're approaching the court system with, and that's just a small little segment of what it is, because you don't want to tip your hand too much. I mean, just what they showed right there is a strong enough thing to bring it to court and not be dismissed. It'd be so hard to dismiss just even on that little bit. So if you have something that powerful with that little amount, what the hell landslide is behind them? The avalanche that they'll unleash in the courtroom.
As long as the judge wants to take the case, the problem is that they may be like, oh, well, they have a right to fire her, and that's the end of it. Then again, there might be a judge who says, you know what? Let's hear this out. So we'll see what happens. You got to keep fighting. Even if you lose, look, Gina could definitely she could lose, but still, it's just the fight, and it may inspire other people, and that's a good thing.
Right.
So.
Well, the thing is we just have to look at the mindset of judges nowadays, and many of these judges aren't necessarily out there to do be a judge. Ever since the Lance Ito days, where hey, this is a chance for me to become a celebrity, and to be known as a judge, to let this in there and being part of that high-profile case, even though you're the judge. I think you have some of them that would be more than happy to jump at it, because Disney isn't necessarily loved by everybody. I'm sure there's judges in the justice system would love to hand Disney its own cojones, just as you have enough judges out there that love to kiss those cojones. So it's just going to be interesting to see across the board with that. And yeah, I think it will see court, and I don't think they're going to settle. It's going to be all or nothing. Either we're going to win or we're going to lose. Or let's throw the other thing in. They capitulate.
Now, how long? Let's hypothetically say this goes to trial. How long do you see the trial going for?
I think it depends on the evidence. I don't know. Probably, it depends. Maybe longer than a week. I don't know. It depends what they present.
Yeah,
I mean, from there.
Again, you're going to have some lawyers out there that's going to be more than happy to get their face out there being the giant killer. And again, depends on how this is going to be approached by the media. Are they going to try? They might not want to even try to follow, because how much out there is owned by Disney in the news media? This is
you look at what Disney owns, and they control a good portion.
Mm-hmm. And there's enough people that do want to take that down, but what type of what would you say, recoverage they're going to have on this will be interesting to see, and that's what's going to be keeping it alive how long it is. So I'm sure it's going to be. They're going to try to hearse it like they did with Citizen Kane, but we do at least still have some out there that aren't under the mouse's control,
Right.
and be more than happy to use this against the mouse.
Yep.
Because they want to have their viewers. They want to get their plums and their accolades. So yeah, I don't know. That's a wild card. How long could it take? I don't think it'll be necessarily open and shut.
No.
But I don't think it's going to be like the OJ trial where, hey, we got season 3 premiere coming out now.
I could see it going more than 2 months. That's how long I can see it going. More than 2 months.
We'll see how far it gets. We really will. It might just be thrown out, and that may be the end of it. But then I don't see Gina giving up. So the best case scenario, of course, is for some reason Gina gets back into Disney. Hey, how's it going? Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's all a part of the victory dance after. You know, as the creed goes that Christ descended into hell after being crucified. And it's like, oh, that's so problematic. It's like, why? Yeah. Christ went down there to do the slam dunk. It's like, look, I won. Nah. This is what Gina Carano wants to do. She wants to go into that place and say, look at me. I'm the victor.
Right.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. I think you're onto something, Mike, about 2 months, maybe even 3. But like I said, it's not going to be open and shut. It's not going to be a quickie.
I mean, even like I know Anonymous brings up Johnny Depp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Warner Brothers still owes him an apology, or Disney, actually. Disney.
Yeah, Disney.
I think both of them do, actually, because, of course, he was removed from the third Fantastic Beast movie. So, they casted somebody else. They should all apologize. It's so stupid. And we still have people who are on the side of Amber Turd.
Oh,
and it's like,
what about the latest rumor where they want Johnny Depp back as Captain Jack Sparrow?
It's funny,
but they want him as a side character,
right? And you can't.
There's no reason for that. I don't care if this time it's now based on some true story or what Elon said recently, because I'm like, it's just, once again, Disney now is like, oh, well, if we bring pirates back, maybe then we can make money. And it's like, yeah, but we've already had female pirates, and they were important in Pirates. They were. They didn't feel like side characters to me. Calypso and those kids. No. She was a pirate in that. Yeah.
Oh.
That's right.
Well, see, and I think we can take a look at the Johnny Depp trial as being kind of a little bit of a black eye to Disney.
Yes.
Because let's face it, Disney was more than happy to help spread disinformation because they were enamored with, obviously, the force is female, and so was Marvel and all that stuff. So let's go and Johnny Depp's no use to us, and we got her. She's going to be our rising star with the Aquamans. So I think you can kind of see a little bit of a black eye there. So Disney should be a little afraid. They don't necessarily have the sympathy of people that they think they do have.
Right. Yeah.
I think they still think they're gods in this playground, and they're nothing more than a cat that's making a shit in the playground. And we're the poor kids who are trying to make a sandcastle and discover it.
Well, that's one way to put it.
I try to come up with new and interesting ways of bringing things forward. Try not to be a one-trick pony. I got to earn my 2 cents a month somehow.
Yes.
Well, gentlemen, unless you have anything else you'd like to discuss this afternoon, I think it's a good time to go ahead and wrap up the show. But, of course, before we do that, let's go ahead and start promoting.
Come on, Cash, you can do it. Oh, you want me to go first, Cash?
You want me to go first?
I can go first. I'll be quick. Okay, Cash, you do it.
All right. Well, after the Super Bowl and some other stuff, I'm still the next 2 days, especially. Yeah, the Super Bowl. There's going to be. I'm still working on some. What is it? The Splatoon. the video on Rumble, and we'll see if that gets taken down. That'll be like a Nintendo test, and then I'll play it for like an hour and then record it and see what happens there. And then, of course, if that doesn't happen tonight, it'll be either Persona 5 Royal, or tomorrow will be Persona 5 Royal, and then they'll be Dishonored. So I'm just not sure yet, but those are what's in the works right now. And then, of course, next week we're going to have another gaming stream, another multiplayer stream, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't know what we're going to play yet, but we'll decide that. And then, unfortunately, next week I may not have to be here because it's time for the convention again, and it's time for helping family, and yeah. So I know.
Cash
Wait a
the
minute.
chauffeur.
Pop Talk without Cash? Baron, we're going to be lost.
You'll have a Vorlon and you'll have a Centauri. So yes.
Quick! Someone call Paul or Janet. We need to fill that spot up.
Yeah, well,
We're gonna be
what
lost.
happened last time.
We're going to be lost, Cash.
You'll be fine. What happened
no,
last
don't you
time,
know what this is going to do to us, Cash? Baron and I don't know how to run the show without you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Poor Phil.
I wish this wasn't important and I could just tell my family to screw off and tell them Pop Talk's more important, but
Wow.
I don't think
wow.
that would go very well.
Wow.
So.
Cash, how many times have I said it?
I know.
Family
I know.
comes before the stream.
I know they do.
Except yours. Yeah.
No, I just wish, they would accept that answer, but they don't. So it's fine.
No problem. We'll just make fun of you as always.
Well, when who's ever not on, it'd be like, "Where's Cash?" Yeah, I know. He's in his
Where's my cash money?
Yeah,
Where's my cash money?
But
good. You finally got rid of Cash Money. No, Phil, we haven't gotten rid of him.
Wednesday will be fine. It's just going to be Sunday and stuff because, of course, that's around the time of the convention. So I'm going to have to do a lot of driving, and it may be raining. So, oh well.
Oh, that's right. You guys are getting weather out there, man.
Mm-hmm. A lot of wet weather out there. But it's the rainy season too.
Yeah, we're supposed to get about 5 or 6 days next week, so we'll see how it goes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Get your umbrella out. Grab your floaties.
Get your floaties. I'm going to get my rowboat. I will. I will.
The SS Monet. Yeah.
That's right.
Now, is this a role-playing convention or is this...
No, my dad, my dad is a lot older now, and so, you got to take care of the family. It happens.
Yeah.
To everybody, I know. And yeah, he's a judge for Talisman, and he's a judge, Talisman. And he takes part in things like Ticket to Ride, games like that.
Yeah.
He's been doing this for years. Yeah, years. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he was a judge for Talisman.
Yep.
Okay.
He's the one who taught me about all these board games and stuff. You guys would have a field day talking about board games and stuff, I'm sure, Baron.
Well, bring him on the show.
I was going to say, sounds like a perfect guest.
Oh, yeah, he has a lot of knowledge of history and different things. He was a professor, yeah. I don't know if he would want to come on. I don't know. Do you really want me to ask him?
Yeah, I do at least. It's not my show, but...
I might. I'm sure
I'll leave it up to you, Cash. I'll leave it up to you.
All right.
Tell him there's a shiny penny for him if he does it. One shiny penny.
Yeah.
Just because it works for you, Baron, doesn't mean it's going to work for Cash's dad.
He's used He used Zoom, but he's never used StreamYard. But it's pretty much somewhat the same. So.
Well, I can just see him going there. Out of the way, Cash. I'm taking over here and pushing him away. And you're in the background. Your dad, tell him about that. Shut up. It's about me now. It's in your corner, Cash.
Yeah. No, he's very level-headed about a lot of things. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that our family and other people have said, it's like, with your politics and how do you guys still live in California? It's like, we've lived here all our lives. We're not going to have someone push us out ever. Yeah. We're here to fight. So
then I move in next door and says, "That's it. We're out of here. Off to Vegas."
It's funny. Yeah.
How
Oh,
about you, Baron?
also, oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, one more thing. It's crazy again. It's been about 10 years now. And, well, the movie people are back because they like this neighborhood and they're going to film here. So we'll see how that goes. And we're like, well, can we use the catering truck? And they said, well, you just have to let us know. I was like, all right. But, we live in this neighborhood.
Oh, Cash is going to be out there with his plate. Like,
Give me food. Give me food. No.
He's gonna be out there with his empty plate and his night iron.
Well,
so he
you
can
guys
cut in
have
line.
you guys have to understand that when movie people come around, they can be intrusive because it's like, you can't park here.
I know.
You can't do this. If you sign this, we'll give you money. Things like that. It's crazy.
Watch, he's going to be there. They're going to discover him. It's like, my God, that's such a magnificent chin. Come here. We want you to be a background character. And before you know it, it's going to be Mission Impossible with Cashmoney.
No, they wanted to be the chin stand-in.
Well, it was because it was crazy. Like a number of years ago, we had Samuel Jackson around here. We had people like Kerry Washington around here who people didn't even know her at that point. We had Annette Bening here, and Naomi Watts was around here. Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
You see, folks, basically what Cash is saying is that what he saw at Pop Talk, he acts one way, but when he's off Pop Talk, he hobnobs with the elite.
He thumbs with us.
I don't know who any of those people are.
Last time that I think the last celebrity I actually met was Will Arnett, because I was at some taping a few years back for a class, and we got to go to these tapings. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. And it's like, what else have you been in? Okay, he was Batman. In the Lego Batman. It's like, oh, of course, Blades of Glory. He had a good role in that. Yeah, and
you should have asked him. You should have asked him why he let that doggone, untalented, unfunny hack Chelsea Handler on the Gong Show.
I don't know.
Because he was part of that. He was like behind the scenes of that show.
I don't know, man. Chelsea Handler used to actually be somebody, but well.
Yeah, you said the important word. Used to be. Now
be somebody.
Now she waits for guys to piss on her when she's at the top.
Well, it's especially with the politics. It seems like people change, or I'm sorry. I'm so very sorry.
Well, no, she's mean. I mean, she's absolutely mean.
She is.
It's like, come on. Is there a nice bone in your body? It's like, not when it comes to men or anything. It's like, jeez, go away.
Yep. Right.
Well, speaking of someone who not going to go away, but he is going to let you all know what's coming up on Baron Orman Tagge's Fandom Legacy.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of like I'm like the herpes of Pop Talk here because I'll never go away. I always fester.
Oh my god!
So basically,
okay, Baron.
Well, that's what the hell, Baron? Come on, dude. All right.
Like I said, I always gotta find a new thing. I always gotta find
herpes,
new ways.
though, dude.
Hey, herpes is a love bug. What can I say?
Jeez.
But I got the.
You know what other clip I need to make? That boy ain't right. Tell you
that boy ain't right.
You just figured that out. That's a great one. But I for me, Saturday, 7:00 Central Standard Time. Yes, exactly. Good old ice pirates there. 7 Central time on my channel. We'll continue our discussion on Babylon 5. With, of course, these two gentlemen here, Mike and Cashmoney. And then hopefully Lord Crit will swim in and give us his views and takes, as well as everyone's the king and legend of trolls. Yes. Yeah, me, Phil McCracken. Yeah. It was good. Yeah, the sets are better now. Yeah, the special effects got there. Yeah.
Yes.
Was that kind of spot on? Okay.
Pretty much.
And of course, hanging out.
It was close. It was close.
Oh, great. Thank you. Of course, don't hanging out with these bozos. Try to separate.
Who are you calling bozo?
Bozos.
Us, all of us. We're all crying out loud. Of course, we're all bozos. Okay, fine. We're the Stooges. There.
And that's
Hello.
why I added that clip, Baron.
I know. And remember, cash money for governor.
Woohoo.
No, I don't even want him as a mayor, let alone a governor.
Boo.
Okay, how about dog
Throw
catcher?
tomatoes
I'll do
at
that
Mike.
Cash for dog catcher.
Anything else, Baron?
No, that's it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So before I start promoting what's going to be happening on Pacific Forum 4, I do want to thank Keith for taking time out of his busy day to join us. And like I said before, Keith, you're welcome back here anytime. Anytime you want to come on, just DM me, DM Baron, and you'll get the invite right away, brother. But seriously, folks, check out Pop Culture Minefield. You're going to like what you see. I know I do. I know I've been slack about sharing out their stream lately, but I'll get back to that.
Yeah, I mean, they're okay. They're okay.
You're okay, Baron.
Well, yeah, thank you. If anybody doesn't know, that's basically Gary Casso when he's complimenting somebody. Yeah, it's okay.
But speaking of Gary, he will be our guest next week, and he will be here to help promote his comic. And I'll go ahead and put the link into both chats. But he is working on a comic of his own, and he's got a lot of experience in the industry. But it's called Vindicated Inc. And that is what he will be on the show to promote. And folks, he's not asking for a whole lot to even get started with this. I'll even
and here, I'm going to turn this on. Oh, and there's one of his works right there. Oh, that's I'm not up, so that's okay.
Hold on.
Okay, so he did this for IDW. This is actually the first edition. He's going to have a second edition coming out that he says he's going to have a little bit more accurate. He was only going off of information he had. But this is based on when they went after Osama bin Laden and took him out. Fascinating book. Again, from IDW. A second edition is coming out. He was kind enough to autograph. He goes, to my good buddy, Baron, fuck you. Whenever he says fuck you to someone, he likes you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. That's great.
But let me go ahead and show the site on the screen for everybody. But it says Gary Cassell, former U.S. Army combat medic, 35-year professional writer and artist, having worked for many publishers including IDW, EA, and Microsoft. Comic titles include G.I. Joe, The A-Team, Army of Two, Alan Wake, and the official artist for Dale Dye's Warriors Inc. and Warriors Publishing Group. And I don't think they're going to be upset if I go ahead and play this promotional video, but let me go ahead and...
I would hope not.
And just to let you know, his attitude about he says he wants to do real heroes, not necessarily focusing on superheroes, which is why he's doing stuff like this. Average people in extraordinary situations.
Let's see, there's still 68 more days to go on the campaign. It's been funded up to 40%.
Not bad.
And they have a goal of $9,800 on the comic, but you can get the PDF form if you contribute $10. $15, you get the PDF form and a thank you from Gary. This is the one I decided to go with. the $25 one.
Mm.
Fine book and PDF.
Okay.
And the thank you. That's what I wanted to go with.
I'll just call him up.
And he's got the $35 tier here.
Mhm.
Got the $50 tier here. And of course, $100, $200, $500. Yeah, making sure I read that right. A $300 one. And then you have this one where you can be drawn into the comic book and signed with PDF, then a statue.
Ooh, a statue. That's pretty
Mhm.
cool.
Cap, pin, and shirt with this one. Of course, being drawn into the comic.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they want me drawn in the comic. How you explain this big fat guy rolling around?
Yeah,
Oh,
seriously, man.
Wait up for me. Wait up. Oh,
He's it's
I got
shaking
my
the
first-
fat man. He's like, what's in that Danish?
Donut.
Oh, Danish.
No, wait, that donut is crap.
Never mind, but real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and play the promo for Vindicated Inc.
Oh yeah,
for
please.
it.
A former US Army combat medic, Gary has spent much of his career creating military art, but not to be pigeonholed, he has shown his versatility by working on horror and sci-fi comics like End Time and the comic tie-in for Xbox's hit game Alan Wake. He has a natural knack for comic art. He's the Al Williamson of our generation, says Tom Waltz, senior writer at IDW. Ted Adams, CEO of IDW, calls Gary a beast when it comes to drawing. Even IDW's Chris Ryle has referred to Gary as the consummate comic artist that they say doesn't exist anymore. This year, through his own company, Hazmat Studios, and with IDW, he is releasing the new movie tie-in graphic novel, Iron Sky. And right now, he's going to tell us all about yet another project, Vindicated Incorporated. Gary, what makes this story different from all the other stories?
In our story, you don't have a character who has any special powers. He's not rich. He's not an expert with technology. Instead, he's a soldier, Delta Force Elite Forces operator, who loses his legs.
Why Seattle? Why not a city closer to home or a fictitious city?
I'm more of a fan of Marvel, where they have the characters existing in real cities with the same problems that people that live in those cities, experience. So it makes it more identifiable, more realistic, and believable.
Why the word Vindicated? And what is Vindicated Incorporated? Or who are they?
The original definition of vindicated is to avenge oneself. And there's that meaning in the story, is that he's avenging the people of the city against a blight that he really sees, that there's this underworld that's destroying the city. And he sees the corruption even in the police department. And he wants to put a stop to it.
What was the inspiration for it all?
The inspiration really comes from the fact that I was in the military, and I have a great passionate love for my fellow soldiers that have been wounded, and really at the heart of this story, I wanted to make a hero of a character who is, by society's definition, disabled or handicapped.
Why Kickstarter?
The fact is every time I see people on Kickstarter, they really are seriously involved with the projects. These people really care, and there's a huge community within Kickstarter who are constantly looking for stuff like this, and they really love comic books. And I love people who love comic books. I'm a comic book artist.
Where is the money going?
It's a lot of work, and so it's going to be paying everybody that's physically working on the book, and as well as paying for some of the perks that we're going to be giving to the contributors, like the hats, t-shirts, etc.
Gary, good luck with the project, and I'm looking forward to receiving my complimentary copy.
Well, I look forward to signing it for you there, Duncan, and hey, nice accent.
And now, let's go ahead and play this one. And this one is narrated by Tom Connors of Midnight's Edge.
Meet the Seattle Vigilante. Like so many comic heroes, this warrior hides his identity. But his identity isn't the only secret he has to keep. After grievous wounds received during combat, Tier 1 operator John Russell begins to recover and comes to terms with his new reality of being an amputee. And as he learns how to use his new prosthetic limb, he finds himself caught up in the bureaucratic red tape that too many wounded veterans experience, the exhausting medboard process. Out of sheer frustration, John takes it out on the criminal scum of the city. But when reality kicks in, John realizes he started something that's having an impact on the greater world around him, and thus has to reevaluate his motives. And moreover, just how far is John willing to go to finish this war he's declared against the criminals in Seattle? And will he even survive? From the creator of IDW's award-winning graphic novel Code Word Geronimo comes a new story about a different kind of warrior, Vindicated Inc., the first of its kind disabled veteran action hero comic. The Vindicated graphic novel crowdfunding campaign on fundmycomic.com is provided in the description of this video. We hope you become a contributor. Please share this link. Thank you.
So Gary will be our guest next Sunday at 12 p.m. Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time to talk more about Vindicated. And if you are interested, well, support him. He's a great guy. He tells it like it is, and that's one of the things I like about him.
What I like also about that comic is like they're just not throwing somebody disabled just to check a box. Like there's all this story behind it. That's that's how it should be for any character, as we've talked about 1,000 times. But we can't get certain people to see that anymore, and it's troubling. But
well, and the fact that he was a combat medic, so he's seen these people wounded on the field and taking care of them until he can get there. So, you can imagine there's a lot of vested interest in that that he has. So personal experience.
I mean, to say he's drawing from his own personal experience and putting it into this comic. Even, one of the panels where his character John is switching his hands, how he's holding his gun. That's from his experience.
Yep. One of my people that gave me some guitar lessons more than a few years ago, finding out that he was very upset because his friends kept dying in the Iraq War, and he made a lot of noise about it to the commanding officers, and they gave him an honorable discharge. But I was like, I would have actually liked to see a story about that, how he came into the military and how he felt. But I can't blame him for feeling that way. Of course, the military is not going to put up with it, guys. But once again, he probably had a point. I mean, he just kept seeing his friends dying in Iraq. So, very troubling.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, it's war, but still, it's like, some people just it's too much. Why are we here? What are we doing? Yeah.
Well, that's why when we're looking at so many fires out there that's happening, we're not happy about this.
No.
We enjoyed those 4 peaceful years where we're actually starting to feel safe, and now we're seeing all these sabers rattling around the world.
Yes,
and never before have I heard people talking World War III in such serious tones. I mean, before it used to be, a cast-off statement. Oh my God, they're going to get us in World War III. Now it's like, oh my God, we're going to get put in this World War III. So it changed from a talking point, or I don't know what you'd say, just hyperboil to actual true fear. Yes. So I think a comic like this where you do see that factor that is a real human being behind this, real human being that's still fighting the system, obviously, as they said in there, with the being a wounded veteran and trying to get the proper care and how to learn to do everything. This is all the stuff that we want of a superhero. I mean, Daredevil, the man that knows no fear, a blind guy.
Yes.
We've had a few others like that where they're just simple human being. Even Batman, when we started out, was just an average guy who wore a suit and went out there and battled.
Right.
So you can kind of look at the fact that this is kind of going back to the roots of what comic books heroes were at one time. Flash Gordon was a regular guy. Buck Rogers was a regular guy. Batman was a regular guy. Which is why Superman was so extraordinary, because this guy actually had powers, but not the powers that we have today. So, yeah, this is kind of exciting. Hopefully, this opens doors for others and gets creative things.
Does Gerry? You guys know Gerry, obviously.
Yeah.
Better than I do. Does he always, with his comics, he always likes to do black and white, or does he ever do color?
No, he does color, but what we're seeing is like almost like the proof type stuff. You know, this is what we're seeing.
Gotcha.
It's a progress at work. So it's going to be colored and such, but we're just kind of getting a little bit of a sneak little peek of how it's going to work.
A sneak peek, and Mike Baron and Chuck Dixon have looked at it, and they liked what they saw.
Right. So, I mean, I kind of look at from the descriptions, this is a less psychotic Punisher. Because in some ways, the Punisher was still an average man that's going out there with a lot of weaponry.
Until he felt that bloodlust after his family was killed, then hell broke loose. Yeah.
Right. But he was still a regular man. A driven.
Yeah, he was.
Well, that's why I love characters like Max Payne. I mean, did you ever play Max Payne, Baron?
No, I have never played Max Payne.
You gotta play him, dude. You want a great revenge story, you've got to play him.
So, and of course, being that he did do those tie-in comics to that, so yeah, kind of his forte, and this is what we need in comics. We need a little bit of variety like that, and it's nice to see that there is a creative.
It's good to see Kickstarter doing some good stuff still, because they have a political agenda, but maybe it's gotten better now. I don't know.
I don't know. I thought he was avoiding Kickstarter. That's why I was surprised to hear Kickstarter.
Yeah.
The site's called fundmycomics.com. So.
Okay. Yeah. So he must have left Kickstarter. Because I know he was. I heard him doing a tirade about the people that run that in Indiegogo.
Yes, I heard bad things about them recently too. I think it was last year. I was like,
So, but yeah, I think I'm gonna break open my my wallet and hear it scream as I pull up my card and put my thing in. So I'll probably do the same thing as Mike. Go with that $25 level.
Well, the thing is, if I'm going to contribute to a campaign like that, I'd rather contribute to Gary's over everybody else's.
Right.
And I'll tell you why, because he's writing it from his own experience and putting it into the character and giving us a story that we're going to be invested in.
And it'd be interesting to see where it goes. Yeah. I'm looking forward to talking with Gerry again here. It's been too long.
I'm looking forward to talking to him more so than I have in the past, because the first time I had actually talked to him was when I was on a live stream where the person hosting the live stream was celebrating 600 subscribers. So that how long it had actually been since I talked to both him and Keith, because Keith was on that stream as well. So.
I talked to him not too long ago on one of the streams. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah.
It was Brandon.
Baron, you're here? Oh, Brandon's. That's what it was. Yeah, Brandon. Oh, Baron, you're here? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, because he said F you, I think it was F you punk waddle, and you said, where's mine?
Yeah, whatever. Where's mine? I was hurt. Gerry, I was hurt.
You can let him know that next Sunday, but as far as
I will.
What's happening prior to next Sunday? Well, tomorrow and Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll be playing the 2015 Max Payne game on stream for the first time.
Ooh.
Gets a little repetitive from what I remember, but it's a good game.
Yes. Talk
that's
about
all right.
segue into Mike Payne game there. Wow, good job again. All my lessons are paying off. Huh?
Yeah, I could say something, but I want to end Pop Talk on a good note.
Freaking Baron. He's just out of control again. You know, sometimes we got to get him that muzzle and put him back in the cage. And then he's like,
I
please give me
know.
more. And he's like, and we're like, no.
Yeah, but the thing is, you
Stay in your
got
cage.
Phil in the cage, so there's only room for one of us.
And then Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, the three of us will be back for another edition of Pop Talk. What are we going to be talking about? Stay tuned. And
we know.
That's right.
well, I'm looking through articles right now, and I'm going. I don't want to talk about that. That's a bunch of nothing.
Yeah,
For some of the articles I've looked at.
I've been scanning all the other YouTube sites and taking down what their stories are, so we can do those stories again also, and just run them into the ground.
There.
I know.
There.
Baron's out of control again.
I'm out of control.
When is he ever under control?
He
when
can't.
Keith was here
Yesterday was under control, wasn't he? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, well, when it matters, yeah.
When it matters. Oh my god.
Oh, I see.
Wow.
I see. Anyways, Thursday I will be playing the remastered version of the first Tomb Raider game, and we'll find out how much I remember of the game and how much I've forgotten in the game.
Yeah.
How does it look? Seriously.
It'll be.
Here, let me go ahead and bring up a video.
Oh yeah, sure. Because I remember the first one. She was busty but blocky. I mean, those breasts could poke your eyes out.
When is that dang trilogy coming out? Next week?
It's coming out Wednesday, my friend, on Valentine's Day.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Whoa!
That's right. The Valentine's Day episode of Pop Talk. No, I'm not going to be sending Cash and Baron any cards saying "Be my Valentine" or anything like that. It's going to be more like "Be here" or "Be square." You knuckleheads.
Wow. Janet, Anna, will you send me Valentines, please? Anna, Janet, Megatech May, all you girls, can you please?
You have the long suffering to send to Valentine's to get flowers for and treat her like she's the special woman that she is.
I know, and I do. I don't send her flowers because she has allergies, but
that's
I'd be sending her flowers a lot if I could.
Well,
oh wow, that looks a lot better.
Well, they seem to take forever to do this. Other people were already working on this kind of stuff. Fans were.
Maybe that's where they decided that they had to do this, because
maybe they did, yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that is an upgrade, but
what?
I hope this is going to be a good port and not some dumpster fire.
Well, I'm gonna have to sit back and listen to what is this going to be on? This is on Steam, right? Going to be on Steam.
It is available on Steam.
Okay,
yes, it is.
So
it's available on Steam for $26.
I'm gonna wait to see if the port's good. If the port's good, I'll buy it. I think it's only 26 right now. Yeah.
Right, but I want to see Mike and see how often he cusses about it.
Yes.
The cuss factor. Yeah.
The cuss.
Well, the only reason I ended up buying it was because when my sister said she wanted to get me Rebirth as an early birthday gift, it's like, okay, fine. Then I'll buy Tomb Raider the remasters.
Okay, so it's $10. Do I want to take a chance on this? Yeah, I might. Okay.
Oh, you're gonna do ABBA? Take a chance on me.
I don't know. I think I might take a chance on this, but I'm kind of worried this port might have problems. We're still running into these issues with PC games that have issues, unfortunately.
I know, but at least it's not a $70 game.
No, it's not.
No, and you have 3 games. You have 3 games.
Yeah,
So-
that's how I factored my
Yeah.
decision making.
I
into
might-
this.
Yeah, you got a pretty good argument. I might buy it myself.
I hope I contributed a little bit when I said 3 games.
Yes.
You did.
Fair. I know you need some
Thank
credit
you.
today, so yes.
Hey,
you
I
did.
do. I need a little validation in my life here, or I'm going to go out and make a comic all about me.
Oh man. Yeah.
Oh, great. But again, I do want to thank our guest of honor for taking time out of his busy day to join us here on
Mhm.
Pop Talk. Thank you again, Keith. It was a lot of fun. And of
Yes.
course, I want to thank Big Daddy T-Gap. Yeah, that's right. Big Daddy T-Gap
Cat.
Steve.
Make sure to collect those caps, Steve. I expect nothing less. So yeah, get to
It's
work.
Big Daddy T-Gap, not T-Cap.
Get
it right,
those caps.
Cash.
Get those caps, man, Steve. Get those caps. Expect nothing less, like I said.
What's he?
Prismatics was here.
Prismatic.
Prismatics.
And of course, he's probably thinking, oh, good. They forgot about it.
They forgot
haven't
about
played
me.
it.
Uh-oh,
I
SpaghettiOs.
don't-
Guess what?
No, I
Anonymous?
Anonymous. Anonymous. Anonymous.
I wasn't going to steal your thunder on that. I was going to let you do it.
And of course,
The king of
Phil
bots.
McCracken, who is asking, where's the 4th member of Pop Talk? What 4th member of Pop Talk?
Oh,
we have guest.
We had a guest.
Janet couldn't make
yeah.
it. Janet
Yeah,
couldn't
that's
make
right.
it.
That's right. Oh,
And
no.
of course, Low Spec Linux Laptop. Thank you, Low Spec. I'll look at the comment here in just a bit. We had Tim's Talk.
Yes.
And of course, Lord Crit of Everest Productions.
Everest
with his
Productions.
silk top hat
Understand.
and his monocle. Yes, I do
Yes.
say.
I
I
will
have never
send my orcas out to destroy you all.
I've never seen an orca with an eyeglass before, with a
Yeah.
monocle before. It's quite a skill, I would say.
Yes,
I hope
I
that
do
didn't
say
last
so,
much.
dear boy.
It's very good. Yes.
And Real Wade Gaming Clips was here. Good to see you, Wade.
Hey,
Hey,
And of course, DJ Ronnie G.
DJ Turtles,
nerdles!
Nerdles.
And Anonymous says, holy heck. Oh, come on, Anonymous. Did you really think you'd get through an episode of Pop Talk where one of us didn't decide to play it? Mhm.
Yeah.
But again, thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, share out the stream, consider subscribing on the YouTube side or following on the Rumble side. And until then, remember 2 things. Don't ever give up on me in a game, because just when you do, you might miss something. And 2, I'm not just a baseball guy, I'm an all-around guy. Take care, all.
Autobots, transform and roll out.
And number 3, Mike is totally hooked on the Ghostbusters game, as we all are.
It's a fun game.
It is a great game.
We had a lot of fun Friday playing Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
And we also had a lot of fun when we played Space Marine.
Yes,
Oh
we
yeah, for the Emperor, for the Lion. Even if you were an Ultra Smurf.
did. Yes.
He was hoping we wouldn't play the clip.
Yeah,
we
you
did.
know better. You know
Take
better.
care, Anonymous. Take care, everybody.
That's
Have a
right.
good rest of
Thank
your
you so much,
Sunday.
everyone.
Guess what? This is the last big football game of the year. Yes, woohoo! Oh, wait a minute. We'll still hear about it months,
Oh,
weeks, days after. Bye, everybody.